an artist, but ignore me. But this is where we need to move into 2022, when Tyler started a GoFundMe to help quote-unquote a disabled trans guy escape Texas. He stated that his name was Tyler, and he's a disabled transgender artist stuck in Texas, and he's been given an amazing opportunity in England to further his art career. Now honestly, power to you, but I genuinely don't understand why somebody would be trying to escape Texas. I mean, I know it's a right-wing place, but to go to the UK, especially given, you know, being trans and disabled, I mean, the UK is quite
I
literally...
den her video, der vil
Does
vise,
anyone
hvordan jeg
remember
starter
that video
op
on
på
TikTok that
Sophie
popped up like a
Scarf
month
fra
ago?
Petit
And it
Nyt.
was just, it was like this
Jeg starter med
lady
at
that
slå
had
det
just moved
antal
to Canada,
masker op, der
and she
skal bruge.
literally
Og et
starts
lille
off the video
tip,
by
når man
being
skal
like,
starte op på det her tørklæde, det er
I'm
altså
in
at
Canada and
slå
we have
maskerne
fled
op, så
the
det ligger
United
helt
States. And it was
tæt
like
på
during a
hinanden, så
week
får du
where
altså
like
den
the least was
flotteste
going on in
opstart
America.
på det her tørklæde. Så når jeg slår op, så sørger jeg for, at der ikke er det store mellemrum her imellem de masker, jeg slår op. Når jeg så har
Bitch, the most is always going on over here. And everybody on TikTok was like, what do you mean you fled? And she was like a professor or something. You guys know what I'm talking about? That shit was so dramatic.
as Turf Island. The treatment of trans people in the UK is absolutely diabolical, and they are absolutely just completely pushed to the side in the worst possible ways. And the same can be said for disabled people, especially with the way right-wing governments are, well, right-wing parties are rising in this country. So I thought I'd just say there, like,
Oh my god. Can you just not get comfy?
I don't get why he did this. Now, Tyler was on the plane, the specific place that he wanted to move to was a very, you know, left-wing liberal, you know, accepting place, which it definitely is, but there are also very accepting left-wing places in the US as well, and making such a massive, drastic move is something that, well, you have to have real reason for. And, you know, Tyler claims that this was all down to the fact that, as he said previously, he's been given an amazing opportunity.
Hey, could y'all maybe do me a favor real quick and blow this up because it's really important to me? Yeah? Okay, thanks. Love you, bye.
So yeah, Tyler really, really wanted to get to the UK, but unfortunately, it did not happen. Despite the supposed opportunity that they had, it all fell apart, which they explain in this TikTok here.
So y'all know how I was supposed to move to England last year? And how I'm clearly not in England this year? And I know I never really talked about why I did not move to England, because I was angry and trying to preserve other people's feelings. But now it's just really hitting me how f***ed up that situation was. You see, I was supposed to be working in an art studio with an artist that I have been looking up to for a very
No, you weren't. I just learned in the last video that you lied about this.
long time. And I never actually named him or the studio that I was
Sick.
supposed to be working for because I don't even know why. Maybe a part of me knew it wasn't going to work out. And that part of me should have just talked louder. But for nearly a year, I put my life on hold because I thought that this opportunity was going to pan out. Just for him to randomly decide, actually no. And he didn't even have the respect for me to tell me. He just ghosted me. And I had to go through every other person in the studio to try and get an answer until finally his assistant let me know that it just wasn't going to happen. And obviously the plan is still to move to England somehow at some point. That's why the GoFundMe is still up and I haven't done anything with it. But in planning,
Do I remember how to knit?
all of my music equipment, except for my instruments, my recording setup, I sold my amps, I sold my cords, I sold everything because I didn't want to lug it across an ocean. And a very large part of me is
Why'd
so
you do
angry
that?
because it sucks.
So yeah, obviously I can imagine that this was a very disappointing moment in this person's life. They really had a plan seemingly, they wanted to move to the UK, and they wanted to experience British culture. Not really sure why, to be honest with you, or else it was something that they wanted to do, but a lot of people started to ask...
Wait, Navver is funny, bro. Navver's gotten me a couple times this video. Navver's funny.
questions. Is this the real, authentic, 100% reason that this individual wanted to move to the UK?
Oh.
Because this is where the Wilbur Soot conversation starts to come into things.
Okay.
40 minutes into my video, I know. Because yes, a TikTok in 2026
Okay.
started to get recirculated and do the rounds, where Tyler Catastrophe claimed that he wanted to move to Brighton.
Okay, wait. Before this one starts, can I just order a little pizza? Pepperoni, not the cupped pepperoni. Disgusting! Did you guys see my post the other day where I was mentioning that I really like having blueberries inside of yogurt because I like I love the circularness of the blueberry. The blueberry on its own is all right, but the blueberry yogurt when it's like creamy and it like it's just really good. I fuck with that heavy. There's something texturally about the blueberries inside of the yogurt that is fire. You know what people messaged me and told me to do? Add honey. Sensory people, tell them. The worst thing that you can do is add something sticky to something texturally perfect. And now, flavor-wise, I don't think you guys are wrong for the honey at all. Roasted garlic cheese sticks. Bitch. I'm sorry, did somebody say Diet Coke? Diet Coke. Oh, they only have Pepsi. Roasted garlic cheese sticks or bacon cheddar. Roasted garlic cheese sticks. Let's just keep it simple. Ranch? Marinara. Not normally marinara guy, but I feel like marinara with some strips hidden. I'm a Pepsi Max girl. What is that, like a big Pepsi? Or does it have just like more, girl, I almost said seasoning, more flavor in it? What is a Pepsi Max? Oh, 0 calorie, sugar-free, caffeinated, with lime.
Where TikTok in 2026 started to get recirculated and do the rounds, where Tyler Catastrophe claimed that he wanted to move to Brighton.
Seen the guy moving halfway around the world just to be closer to a YouTuber? If y'all think I would make a massive, life-altering decision that takes years of work to achieve, just because I was willing to admit on the internet that I think a musician I don't know has a pretty laugh, then y'all really have the wrong idea.
I love how he's kind of like projecting and saying it out loud to himself because he's like, is this real? Did I do this? No, I didn't do that. But that's exactly what you did.
And I suppose you have a better explanation? I was supposed to move to Bournemouth a couple years ago. I had a job lined up, I did a ton of research, made a ton of preparations, admittedly got a little too excited because it ended up falling through at the last minute. But when I finally dusted myself off and got myself back on track, and decided I could probably just move out of the US on my own, England was the easiest choice because I had already done so much of the work. But why Brighton specifically? But when I visited England and met the people
I'm
I
sorry.
hoped to be working
You
with...
don't make a whole skit explaining this unless you're horny online for the YouTuber. You're horny on
I
Maine.
completely fell in love with the South Coast. I've always wanted to live near the ocean, and it's gorgeous. And Brighton is a really popular city right now. I've got a bunch of friends and support in the area, and like with most college towns, it's got a thriving art and music
Why
scene.
are we lying on Maine? Why are we lying on Maine in detail? Why are we climaxing? I can't. You made me say climaxing. Why are we doing this? Like, oh no, we're about to enter a huge Wilbur Soot arc.
And people keep telling me it's the gay capital of the UK, which I think is hilarious.
Now, Brighton's a nice place. It's alright. It's got the beach. Not a very good beach, may I say, but it's got a beach. And the South Coast, it's alright. It's alright, you know, it's not even special. It's just nice. It's alright, you know. Go for a day out, get ice creams and fish and chips, you know, British culture. You know what I'm saying? But
Wait, is anybody in chat in Brighton right now? I mean, I know it would be like, what? I don't know, 11 o'clock at night or midnight? I just want to know if anybody, I just want to know if Tyler's envious of anyone right now. Wait, oh my god, okay, 1 a.m. here in the UK. Hi, Catholics. Oh, you guys that are in here, how do you feel about Tyler wanting to move to Brighton so bad? I need to ask my editor and channel manager.
wanted to move from Texas, get ice creams and fish and chips, you know, British culture. You know what I'm saying? But he wanted to move from Texas to Brighton, and you know, Brighton is a big gay place, of course. But moving across continents is a bit of a move, you know, is a bit of a drastic action. And well, one individual that we've mentioned today,
moving
Wilbur
across
Soot,
for Brighton, did he say it's like LGBTQ friendly?
Hello.
but moving across continents is a bit of a move, you know, is a bit of a well, one
Nothing much. We had a funeral today, so we did that. That was a funeral. And I was like, I don't really know if I want to. I don't know if I really want to play a video game today. So I undid all my progress on this hood because I can't count. So I was like, I'll just start over. Who does that? Who knows? Maybe I'll get fed up at some point and you know.
Individual that we've mentioned today, Wilbur Soot, also coincidentally lived in Brighton. And I have kind of jumped around in the timeline here for when things have gone viral and when things haven't gone viral, but Tyler's obsession with Wilbur started to do the rounds, and it then led to people finding these TikToks about him wanting to move to Brighton.
Wait,
and of
what are
course,
you working
made
on?
A lot of people out there think
I'm
that
working
he
on-
only wanted to move to the UK to get closer to a certain Wilbur Soot. And yeah, with that, it leads us into the conversations finally surrounding him and his obsession with Wilbur.
TR he in all capitals said Wilbur
I was watching
is not
Euphoria
gay,
with
and
friends.
He's proven his type is like alt girls. I'm gonna take it as gospel.
It's a fucked
I'm gonna
up
take
show.
it as gospel.
I'd if I
Because,
really
yes,
like
a clip
it.
from 2024 started to go viral when Tyler made the claim that
Based on the fact that person was a first-time chatter and it was all in capital letters, I think that this person is a Wilbur Soot historian, and I choose to believe
Hold on.
a clip from 2024 started to go viral
Wow!
when Tyler made the claim that Shelby was basically not telling the truth and that Wilbur was innocent of everything that he had been accused of.
Oh my
Yes, this is finally the
God!
beginning of the obsession.
Also, I don't know if you guys know, but like Shelby or Shubble, she has been like in the Minecraft and YouTube community for like over a decade. She clean as a whistle, okay? She's
I'm
like
making
the nicest
this
person.
this
That's
this hood
crazy.
here.
That's crazy. Why would you do that?
Now, stan culture, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, is definitely something that can be good.
Are we watching a stream or watching a stream while I stream?
Hates on K-pop stands, or Dan and Phil stands.
So
Crazy.
I always
you know,
work
stands
when
I care
she
about.
streams,
I'm
but
aware, because I think some of them are actually, a lot of
she-
them, in fact, are just people trying to enjoy themselves. and
she does
celebrate
a lot
the
of, like-
artists that they love and the fan base that they're in. But this
I don't know.
special
I like watching
content
her
is
react to
not
I
like
Never
you.
because then I
Here's
don't
the
have to
bad example of what
watch
stan
the I
culture
Never
can possibly be.
that feels
Not
bad
a
because
representation of it
then
overall,
he
but
doesn't get the
secondly,
views.
considering what it
But
says about Shelby and Wilbur, well, it's not great.
I do not think that Wilbur Soot is an abuser,
Oh,
and I know I've said that fairly indirectly in the past,
Yeah.
especially recently, but I do feel like
Oh,
there
that's
needs
neat.
to be said point blank.
I don't know if this has ever happened in the history of the internet.
I got to
When
about like
somebody gets
Wish to
here.
donate to Extra Life?
canceled
Follow the
by
link.
a person
And
that
thank
knows
you.
them very, very well, and somebody goes online and is like, I don't know. I can't even do it. He sat down confessional style and was like, I don't think she's telling the truth, and here's why. Like,
I guess I gotta zoom out, huh?
what? What possessed you to do this? What?
The book. I'm assuming.
What demonic possession?
Because
So
as
I
someone
almost
who has been a
finished
victim of
LOTR.
abuse, assault, domestic violence, I know way too well what those things look like.
First things first here, I need to immediately say, if you're a victim of anything, that does not give you the right to look at another victim's story and say, oh, this happened to me, therefore I am the oracle of abuse. That is something that
I
is
am the
honestly
authority.
very frustrating to see, and it's something that, as somebody that's covered a lot of these types of stories over the years,
Yeah, because also here's another reason why you can't take people online saying, well, I've XYZ and da-da-da, so I can speak to this. Some people are contrarians. Some people like the attention of being the opposite, or some people love going against the grain. So while some
So
people
far,
are
I'm
perfectly
enjoying
honest
Return of
and
the
just
King.
listing
I'd put your
why
pro
their
with it is
lens,
low.
like, is formed this way or where it comes from, you gotta assume 50%.
I think
of the
I'm just
people
at
are
a
being
slow
honest,
part in
and
it.
then
I don't
a
even
good
know where
chunk
I'm
of
at
them,
in
like,
it,
I
to
don't
be
know,
honest.
40 or 30% of them are actually contrarians that are just bullshitting and trying to get some attention. Hey, have you considered this fact before? Have you considered that somebody online can literally just like lie? I've thought about this before. If someone were to say something to your face, you would kind of assess the whole situation to decide if you're going to ingest that information or not. But when we're online, everybody type the same. Everybody got a username. Everybody got a username with a number in it. Everybody got a username with a capital letter. Some people type lowercase. Some people type. I do not know the difference between a 10-year-old and a fucking 57-year-old typing online in the comment section. How am I supposed to know? So how can I take it at face value when somebody says,
I have 8 hours
experienced this or
left
I
in it.
experienced that? Babe, people lie.
Which
People lie.
is...
They lie. Just because you would never lie in a comment online and you don't see the value doesn't mean that there aren't millions of people doing that.
I'm on chapter
all the
7.
time. Like,
Though I
It's
will
honestly
agree,
very frustrating
the
to see,
chapter The
and it's
House of
something that as
Healing
somebody
feels
that's
really
covered
That's the
the
next
topic over
chapter.
the years,
been
I
condensed to half the
consistently
length
see
and tacked
where a
onto the
victim
next chapter.
stands up
I
for
haven't
somebody
even
who's
made it
been
there.
accused of a lot of heinous things, and they seem to believe that just because they went through some form of abusive situation, that means that they can now dictate what is right.
I gotta
and
see what
is
Tyler
wrong.
says about
That is
this, though.
immediately not just a red flag, but
Yeah.
just flat out wrong and something that you cannot do.
It's
Your
wrong.
personal experiences are personal experiences. You were not in the shoes of Shelby. You were in your own shoes, experiencing what you experienced in the past, and I'm sorry you went through that, but it does not give you the right to attack other victims out there. And of course, this is only the beginning, and it's just going to continuously progress.
Thank you for the follow.
But of course, 10 seconds in, it's an absolute disaster.
Thank you
Thank
for
you
the
for the
follow.
follow.
My audience knows
I
how
need to
approach
figure out how to
things
get
like
that
this by
voice to
now.
chat to
I
not
also know that if I
say
post this video, there will probably be a lot of people who don't know me who
the
see
name.
it, so I'm going to try to be as kind.
Unless I just got
direct,
it to
and
not
clear-cut as
say
I
it.
can.
It's not kind.
I don't think this woman's objective.
But I need
reality
Streamlabs
happens.
to also
I'm gonna
not
be as kind as I
say
can,
it.
though.
Kind to be condescending and belittling towards other victims because you're also a victim in another situation. It's not kind to victim blame, and you're doing that.
Thank
Don't
you
tell
for
me that you're
following
being
Smulpernov.
kind. You're doing the exact opposite of that. You're
Yep,
victim
there it
blaming.
is.
That's not
Blue
kind.
Mount.
That's disgusting.
So I'm going to stick to 3 main points from Trouble's VODs. Please go and watch them yourself. You are under no obligation to think the way that I do.
Yeah, you
And then
could
I'm going to touch
probably
on
skip
Wilbur's
it.
response,
It's
and then I
mostly
think the
just
general response
Aragorn
needs to be
healing
addressed
Mary
as
and
well.
Iran of the
No.
ring
Especially
raid
the
the
points where that
affliction.
Wilbur was a slob, had a messy house,
Mm.
that she paid for a lot of her way to see him, and that he bit her. For point 1, let's be honest, most men aren't taught how to take care of themselves in their living spaces. And for men in their early 20s, that's a lot worse than it should be.
Firstly, I don't know if that's necessarily true. Of course, a lot of people out there have not taught their children how they should, actually live and be and act. But I feel like a lot of people out there know the difference
Holy sh! River Fishy in chat said, "I can see the pedestal he has himself on from here."
between being a little bit messy and living in complete disgusting filth. Now, he's obviously going to go and try to use the point of, oh, well, him living in a disgusting house isn't technically abuse, but that's not even the point here. Shelby only mentioned these things in her stream because she was telling her entire story and trying to reflect the fact that she tried her best in every opportunity to help
Yeah,
Will, and all he...
She was showing where the difficulties began. And I think that's super fair, especially when, like, he is one of those guys that presents as, like, I'm a cozy, soft guy, nice guy.
did was cause her pain and stress, like he literally admitted to in his own response.
Wish to donate to
and
Extra
apology.
Life?
So I am
Follow
a
the
little bit
link.
confused
And
why you
thank
come on here
you.
and deny these things when Will
I am
himself has
nomad.
admitted to causing pain. It is a little bit confusing why he says that, but you say, oh no, I'm a victim. I know what victimhood is.
Every man I dated in their late teens, early 20s was gross. That's just kind of par for the course. It's sucks, but it is to be expected. And it is not, by default, malicious. 2, paying your own way, especially for a distance like that, is kind of expected. And when you take into account that they were both very successful in their respective careers at that point, paying your own expenses isn't by default malicious.
I'm not going to lie to you, I don't know Wilbur, but I definitely had association via other mutual friends with Wilbur in the past. These Minecraft YouTubers make money. They made a lot of cheddar. They made a lot.
Oh, Jewel Rez said, is he saying boys will be boys? Yes, like that's literally like what he's trying to say.
I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think Shelby made the levels of money these individuals were making. And I honestly think that Wilbur should have paid for the majority of the things, because I feel like if you have a partner and they're a millionaire, I feel like the millionaire should probably pay for the most things. I think that's pretty normal. And again, when Shelby speaks about these types of things, she's building the story and making people understand the ins and
Yes.
outs of their relationship. Of course, it starts to get into more severe and serious things, but she tells these things to let us know what actually took place in this relationship, where both of them were at, and to give an accurate reflection on the story. Of course, the biting element is the most serious part of the story, but just getting on live stream and being like, oh yeah, he bit me, and nothing else, that would be a bit weird. That would be a bit strange, and telling the entire story with context is very important. But of course, this person who is a victim themselves, they know the best way to tell the stories about abuse, and they know what's right and what isn't. Just just shut up, honestly. You're just
Shut up.
nonsense.
Just shut up.
And I also
Shut
feel
up.
like Tyler has very much represented that they do not understand this situation completely, because he complains that Shelby mentions the filth, and he complains that Shelby speaks about the amount of money that she had to spend in her relationship with Wilbur, but these two things coincide with each other. There's a reason that she mentioned this when giving a broader picture on what actually took place in their relationship. But oh no, according to Tyler, these things really aren't relevant.
For the third point, Shovel states very clearly in her follow-up VOD that she consented to the biting. She then went on to clarify that what she had an issue with was the fact that it hurt. And while I don't think anyone...
Dude, like, just to sum it up very plainly, I know some of you guys don't know who Shovel or who Wilbur Soot is or anything. If you want to, you know, say something, just trust me. She's a very non-problematic creator. She dated this guy for a while. He hid their relationship. I actually think she kind of got pushed to a point with coming out with this. But the main issue with the biting, think about this. Some men love to push sexual boundaries. It's like their favorite thing is to like act like, whoa, I didn't know. No. The way that she described the biting was as though like he just described it like it was no big deal, but it became more and more harsh. It felt boundary pushing. He was breaking skin. There was bruising. And it was like, you know, please stop. He was asked multiple times and he did not. So to me, it kind of checks off that box where a guy enjoys pushing boundaries to see what he can get away with. But in this case, there was a physical aspect of it that was extremely upsetting. And so him saying that she consented to the biting is really, 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 it's crazy. It's crazy.
She consented to the biting. She then went on to clarify that what she had an issue with was the fact that it hurt. And while I don't think anyone should be hurt in their relationships, at the end of the day, that is a communication issue. And whether it's just a poor communication...
Here, and also, let me explain like one other thing here. Just walk with me for a second if you don't understand why this is an issue. Let's say that you have a partner and, you know, whenever you're, you know, being intimate or something, they push a boundary and they bite you. And eventually you're like, okay, hey, I get it, that's your thing. I need you to stop, okay? And then let's say you're intimate again and they randomly bite you, but it's not that bad. And you think to yourself, maybe I can ignore this one, right? And then the next time it's worse. And the next time it's worse. And then after that, now the person in the relationship has an anxiety around intimacy, whether they're cuddling or doing something more, that they're randomly going to be bitten. It's actually scary. It's actually scary.
I'm almost to the point of the
Maybe
book where it
that's
goes back
why,
to
because
Frodo
it's
and
all
Sam.
on
Next, the
Mary and
anxiety
Pippin,
around
which
this is gonna
love
happen
Mary and Pippin.
anytime we're close.
Um,
That is also traumatizing. So
but, like-
I'm really not rocking with this, bro.
or lack thereof, what she had an issue
maybe
with...
that's
I remember
why.
this too. Dark Luna in chat is saying, and she said they had a safe word, and she used it, but he would ignore it. So just, you know, I'm just
Which
trying to
I'm
give
more
you a little
interested
additional
in.
context that what Tyler is saying here is quite crazy.
to the biting. She then went on to clarify that what she had an issue with was the fact that it hurt. And while I don't think anyone should be hurt in their relationships, at the end of the day, that is a communication issue. And whether it's just a poor communication or lack thereof, both parties are responsible for that.
Again, I don't understand why he's saying these things when Wilbur has actually apologized for doing this. But also, the main point most people have had with this situation is the
I like Mary and
weaponization of
Pippin,
the safe
but a
word,
lot of the time
stories
it's
that
just
Shelby
Gandalf
gave
doing
involving the
long
biting,
speeches to
how it very
Pippin.
much did seem,
Same
Yeah.
with
according to the words
Aragorn.
that she had said, that Wilbur tested this safe word to the
Yeah, he's
maximum extent in seemingly
boundary
every
pushing,
single situation.
Men will do this sometimes. Push your sexual boundaries and be like, oh, why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you communicate? I didn't know. You did know. You did know. It's in the same category of, please explain my bad behavior to me. It's the same exact type of thing.
Scenario. And also, I feel like Tyler is forgetting the fact that in Shelby's livestream, she stated that the only reason a safe word was invented was because he kept on pushing the biting and hurting her and causing bruises. And even after that, it very much seems, at least from my perspective, that the safe word was being weaponized.
But he did mention something early that I should have taken as a red flag. And he wanted to make sure that I was okay with him biting me because he didn't want me to come.
Dude, this is crazy, but I could kind of agree with this. HTTP said he's excusing you could say the regular word. HTTP said he's excusing sexual abuse the same way that enmeshed mothers excuse their creepy sons' behaviors. The first argument was literally boys will be boys. That's wild.
Back later flag. And he wanted to make sure that I was okay with him biting me because he didn't want me to come back later and say that he abused me, which I thought was really weird considering he had never hurt me before. And so why would I call it abuse? And why was he thinking about that? And I thought he was being sweet, checking on me to make sure that I was still comfortable. But of course I was, because he hadn't hurt me. And why would I think he ever would?
God, this is Shelby, a snippet of her telling her story. I feel like I can just tell by her tone. I just believe this so much. She kind of has a similar mechanism that I have sometimes when I finally realize the person's a piece of shit. And it took me a long time, but I have this energy of like, I can't believe this is real, but I can tell you about it because I know that it's real. But like, this is crazy to me that this actually happened. To me, I kind of sense that same energy in her, and maybe some of you guys have that sometimes too, but like I just feel like everything she's saying is so authentic.
It's because he hadn't hurt me.
Like the disbelief
and why
in
would
her
I think
eyes.
he ever would? And then he did for the first time by accident. And I don't specifically remember the actual first time that he bit me too hard by accident because I didn't think that it would be significant. I thought that it would only happen once. And he started biting me more and more over a period of time, sort of throughout the whole relationship. And accidents of him biting too hard and really hurting me happened more and more frequently. But he always seemed genuinely sorry. And he decided that he didn't want to keep accidentally hurting me. So we were going to use a safe word so he could learn where my limit was. I didn't like it, and I tried telling him over and over again because he wasn't actually trying at all to not hurt me. But he said he would try at first. And then he started saying things like, it was my pain tolerance that was too low. Or I'm exaggerating how much it actually hurts. He's not even biting that hard. I'm being dramatic.
Nah, the fetishy bite people, they will...
Did my
they will
text to
sink
speech
right
just
through
decide
the
not to
skin.
read that
They will
message?
sink right through it. Somebody else's fetish is not your responsibility to comply with or feel empathetic for. If you are not a match, you are not a match. And that's okay. You don't have to bend to their fetish at all.
But his biting escalated to a point where I was covered in
Yes,
bruises
it did.
all over my arms. And he would poke at them for fun. And he even felt so comfortable showing off my bruises that he had caused to our friends.
It's crazy because she's talking about the physical manifestation of what some people do internally to their partners and domestically abuse them. Sometimes for lack of a better term, the bruises are more internal, but the guy will still enjoy poking the bruise that he made. And then he will enjoy highlighting the bruise in front of friends. She's talking about a cycle of abuse that literally happens quite often internally with men and women, but he created a physical manifestation of it that physically hurt. It's wild.
Friends, because he would bite me so hard by accident. By accident, he would even joke that it looked like he abused me. And eventually he did acknowledge how bad it looked that I was covered in bruises all the time.
He was bragging to himself.
Biting my arms as often, and he started biting my legs instead. And it was in the last couple of months of the relationship that every time he bit me, it was until I needed to use this safe word. It had become his benchmark for when to stop.
Now, I understand that we've already seen this clip, but I do feel like it is something that Tyler himself seems to have not seen, or at least is just willingly ignoring. Because
He's
yeah,
ignoring.
in both of those two clips that we just went through, Shelby speaks about how the safe word was formed, and that came from Wilbur accidentally hurting her. And in my opinion, and I do need to say, yeah, that this whole video is my opinion for legal reasons, and there has been no convictions made, but I just need to say that. But yes, it does seem that that safe word was weaponized and used to push the barriers as far as possible. But Tyler willingly ignores all of this and all of the context in the entire situation. But the most important thing here is the fact that Wilbur himself apologized for causing pain and claimed that he wanted to validate Shelby's feelings.
So her BF was abusing her?
So it's about a YouTuber, a Minecraft YouTuber, and so this guy is like madly in love with him and is like thinking of it's all about parasocial relationships and stuff in this one.
So what are
And
we doing here?
what
Why
are we
he
you know
taking
what?
actions when Wilbur himself
Hangman, I'm just started over. Because I'm not a part of any of that, so I'm not sure how to explain it.
The mediocre.
The
Yes.
guy with the glasses is parasocial?
Yes.
You just shoot through the floor and go straight to the center of the.
Also, I love bows because
What is a Pepsi Max? You just gotta turn around and put that on. Lock it up. Don't let them know. You're normal.
I see.
And we've watched videos of hers before on stream.
Tyler Catastrophe is back, and it's gonna be a long one. Not because there's that many more updates. Honestly, it's because we just watched like a really long video and stream, and it was like a hangout. Now, I'm coming to you to let you know I lose my mind in this video because it's basically like a day off for me, okay? Nabber, one of our favorite coworkers, has done the brunt of the work, and I get to sit back and relax here and watch it. So, listen, it's my day off. Nabber is hilarious. And I'm sorry, I do think the necklaces are ugly. So, just, hey, if you need to clean your room, reorganize some stuff, get something done, walk somewhere, go on a long drive, whatever the case may be, this is your video. Throw it on and get something done today. Have a little fun. Dude, Nabber is literally like a true co-worker to me, like in the YouTube world, that like I walk up to his desk, I'm like, hey man,
Visit GoSpaceMermaid's Ko-fi page at link.
I've only ever watched on YouTube. It feels illegal to be on Twitch. It's not illegal, but it's very scary.
Also, you have to be subscribed to her on Twitch to watch her VODs, so this is the only way to watch it if you've missed it.
Long before cringy TikTok edits, fan cams being spammed in Twitter reply sections, people were fainting at concerts, other heels of their favorite bands such as the Beatles, Queen.
Yeah.
Just in general, your favorite artists and celebrities.
And she actually started as a streamer, I'm pretty sure, like a game streamer.
And some could be considered stans. There have always been individuals who obsess and dedicate themselves to a famous person. And for the vast majority of people, this type of hyperfixation or hyperfandom is usually relatively
Well, she gets so
and
much
just a
money
fun way
from
for a community of,
this
in a lot of
probably
cases,
because she
younger fans to
makes
celebrate
all of
What I find very
they go through and they
interesting
edit out
about,
all the
like,
boring stuff from her
internet
streams.
culture, and even some of you guys that watch me, what people are doing online nowadays, I actually really like. They're finding their individuality through artistic landscapes that content creators create, right? So they get more and more attached to something because this thing that they've selected, they feel connected with it. It ends up defining
I started
a
on
moment
YouTube
or
doing
era
Let's
of
Plays,
their life.
then realized it was
And then the
2014 and
person
Let's Plays
just
were
is kind
already
of, like,
dying.
fused with it.
So then
It's
I
like
went
their
to
favorite
streaming.
creator or something is like an extension of them. And that's also why when we have those fallen fans that turn on a creator that they used to be really close to, it's because the creator has done something that makes the fan feel like they are no longer artistically connected, and they have to cut off the creator to cut
on
off that
Twitch.
part of themselves to define themselves against whatever it was that the creator did. It's very attached.
The celebrities or content creators that they love and appreciate. But if there's one story
Yes, I
that I've
know.
learned on the internet over the years, it's that sometimes in these
Wish to donate
categories
to
of
Extra
people,
Life?
stans,
Follow
fans,
the
whatever you
link.
want to call them,
And
people
thank
that
you.
hyperfixate on content creators and famous people, not necessarily saying that I'm famous, but if there's something I've noticed over the years, it's sometimes a few specific individuals take it a little bit too far. You can think of any fandom, any content creator, any celebrity. Again, I'm not saying that I'm a celebrity, but there are celebrities out there, and you will find instances of someone in a fan base taking it too far and going, well, honestly, just quite crazy. And over the 10 years of being a content creator, I have witnessed this a countless amount of times. Content creators come and go, and with that come rabid fan bases.
He's setting up here. He's setting up. He's about to give us everything.
Individuals that do things that, honestly, a human being should not do, and they should probably reevaluate.
What is a Luna? Is that a K-pop star? Oh, it's a whole group. Oh, I thought it was just like one person in the group.
I wish I'd been in this stream though
Sorry,
to be like, no.
I'm like an old K-pop stan. Also, I just found out that one of the K-pop guys that I used to really like was apparently problematically. He was a bad guy. I didn't realize that. You guys know who G-Dragon is? Or like Tae Yang from Big Bang? I used to love them when I was in high school, and I saw them at Coachella, and I was really excited, and then people were like, G-Dragon is the worst. I was like, really? That's my child. That
G-Dragon is the best.
A defining thing for me when I was younger. I remember being at my grandparents' house and seeing a Big Bang video, but you know, I did get to see them live, which was really cool. It was fun. Girl Not Sungri, dude, Sungri, who is it? Dude, it's Tae Yang. Thank you very much.
individuals that do, and with that come rabid fan bases, who in those fan bases you will find individuals that do things that honestly a human being should not do, and they should
Which
probably reevaluate
we
their
still
life
stan for
choices.
like
The concept of
English
being
artists
parasocial or a
and
parasocial
celebrities,
relationship
but like
for
being
years
a
now
stan
has been
in
debate,
like
but
the K-pop
particularly
world
peaked
is
between
not
early
a bad
2020s
thing.
when large Minecraft audiences
being a
got
sus
big,
thing
and a lot of
is
people
a
started
bad
to
thing.
have
That's like the
conversations
people who
about
like
certain
all the
people.
fans know them because they're in
Parasocial
every
relationships is so
like
interesting because I think there needs to be
video
a
that they do
division
not like
soon. For some
traveling
reason,
and
we call
stuff because
everybody
these people
online who's a
just
fan
are
of
all up
somebody
in their life.
parasocial. By quote definition, every single person in the comments or in the chat would be parasocial with me. I don't think that that's exactly true. I actually think parasocial is an entirely different
That's
thing where a
crazy.
person
Yeah.
really thinks that there's a
Like there's a
one-to-one
K-pop guy, I think it's
relationship. It's a little
17.
different, but
They
like I
like
said
went
before, there's
skiing
also
or
a group of
something
people
and
that
they
define
didn't
their
blur
identity, their culture
they didn't
off
blur
of
her face
content
out
creators. Some people
in
even
like
identify
the
they find their
videos that
identity
she
and
showed
their
up
own,
in
like, culture
because
that they feel
she's
centered in
such
by being
a
the
stalker.
opposite of certain people's landscape
Like
or design.
Sasaengs
So
will
anyways,
learn
I
their
think there's
phone
parasocial,
numbers
I
and then
think
they have to
there's
get new
also just
phone
the
numbers.
people that are
and
exploring themselves by looking at different media and personalities. Anyways, that's just my thought.
In certain audiences. And it seems that a remnant of that forgotten time period has somehow managed to appear out of nowhere, because today we're going to be speaking about a specific person who recently has been going viral for all of the wrong reasons that I mentioned in the introduction of this video. Imagine
I feel like
a
this was
fan
not
or a
the
stan
yarn. I
at
give
the
up on this
worst
yarn. I can't
possible
with this yarn.
extent.
I can't.
Imagine
I
somebody
can't.
who really
I
does not know when to quit. Somebody who will dedicate their entire life
I give
as a
up.
content creator that they
I gotta
have
switch
never
yarns.
met, to the point of where they are apparently considering moving across continents just to meet this person. And there are a lot of stories, a lot of allegations, a lot of things being said about this person. So without further ado, meet Tyler Catastrophe. Now, at first glance, you may mistake this individual as just yet again another.
I have to say this. The necklace is ugly. The necklace is ugly. Like, at what point, do you tell, like, if people that are in Tyler's life, like, at what point do you tell people in your life, this doesn't look good? That's a good hop, you know what I mean? Like,
Now, at first glance, you may mistake this individual as just yet again another dedicated fan running a dedicated fan page. But as you keep on scrolling through this person's social media, you will begin to realize the sheer volume and intensity of their content, and that this person is a little bit unhinged in their dedication to a particular individual. And you may be wondering, well, who is this person obsessing
fine.
over? Who is this
I knit
person
pretty tight,
choosing
so-
to dedicate their life to? Well, it's this guy. Yes, meets Will.
I've been calling this out for a minute. When are people gonna stop, like, just being hella horny online and acting like they're not? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if there are some, like, lustful statements or things from homeboy Tyler in the next couple of things. But, like, the reality is, like, I'm not attracted to Wilbur. I'm sure a lot of you guys are not particularly attracted to Wilbur too. But to a lot of people, this is a very attractive person.
That's
to
a
lot
man.
of people, okay? And I get very tired of us not being able to acknowledge how crazy lust will drive some people. And this is a little bit more
That
with
guy?
like women.
That's the
'cause
guy
I
he's
talked
a
about this
stan
with the
of?
Lori Vallow
Bro
case.
looks like
It's
Pyrus
as
Tyra
women,
mixed with
we're taught to be
C3P0.
like ashamed
Yep.
of sex, or we're not supposed to talk about sex, or we're not supposed to do things. So like sometimes they'll like women will like hide like how they're feeling, and they'll bury the lust in something else and act like it's something different. So that's a little bit different than this situation, but I just see it as a really common problem where people don't realize they're going crazy because they think somebody's hot.
So yes, who actually is Wilbur Soot? Well, Wilbur at one point was honestly an absolutely beloved content. Is Wilbur Soot? Well, Wilbur at one point.
I don't know why, but this alone gave me a jump scare. I'm like, no! 2021! Mask on! We're back! They're Dream SMP, they're popular. He's taking his mask off.
But it was really the Dream SMP where Wilbur garnered a large amount of fame. Because yes, from the Dream SMP, Wilbur started to develop an extremely dedicated audience. He was arguably, in 2020, one of the biggest content creators about. He was simply everywhere, skyrocketing himself to
Who are all the Dream SMP members? Or who are the original ones? Wasn't there a list of them before?
create the case. Could have just got whiplash. Because yes, of course, Wilbur joined the Dream SMP. Yes, there were...
Okay, here they are. I don't even know who all of these are. Okay, if you liked Wilbur Soot, that means that you were horny on main. If you like J Slat, you probably date male manipulators. If you like Ted Nevinson, you probably
I don't know
like
any
TV.
of
You
these
like a
names.
good-
I
you like a
barely
good
even know
show.
who
You like a
Dream
good
is.
Format. Give me what I'm calling for. Who the else are these people? If you like Dream, wait, what is your personality type? If you like Dream, if you like Dream, you want to be the leader. You want to be the boss. You want to be at the front of the group. Who
I
else
don't
is
know
there?
anyone.
If you like George, you're kind of a bitch, and you're also horny on main. You're a bitch and you're horny on main. But like, and also he was a nice guy. But I'm just saying like that. I feel like that's what that demo was. And who else? Tubbo. If you like Tubbo, you're 12. Tubbo was one of the most popular, but all of his fans were like really, really, really young. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Tommy. Who are the Tommy fans?
Dream I only know cause he cheated in
Actually,
Minecraft
this is one that
speedrunning and
says
everyone
kinda
lost
nice.
their
I feel like
minds for
Tommy-
Ome
if you
reason.
like Tommy, you're actually probably kind of funny. I didn't think he was that funny, but I feel like the people that liked him liked like John Mulaney like style, like they were funny kids, you know.
Dedicated.
Also, I've met like all of these people before at some point through some Twitch event or something. Everybody's been nice. I don't have any bad experiences with these people. This episode is sponsored by ZocDoc. And listen, I've done a lot of ZocDoc sponsorships, and I have a little personal anecdote to tell you that I think is pretty important. When I did ZocDoc, the old play, put in.
And
Okay.
with that, it takes us back to the individual known as Tyler Catastrophe.
See, I only know
So yes,
Dream
for the
because
first time, meet
everybody
Tyler
freaking out about
Catastrophe,
him
the person
doing
that
his
we
face
introduced you
reveal,
to
and then
at the
him
end of
not
this
even being
video.
ugly,
It's time
and
to
people like
talk
making a big
about
deal about it.
everything to do with this individual. Because yes, in 2026, Tyler Catastrophe has been making a name for himself for pretty much all of the wrong reasons, and it all is attributed to
Ew.
Wilbur Soot.
I'm here to tell you happy
Ew!
birthday.
I know some of y'all ate that up too. Tyler sure did. I know y'all ate that shit up.
You know, because it is your birthday. So have a very happy birthday. Hope your life isn't short.
But the question is,
What?
who is Tyler? Well, Tyler is a 27-year-old.
Wow, this is terrible. How are you 27 with a millennial bio? Haver of skills, maker of things, and doer of stuff.
Have you seen
Tyler
the video
Catastrophe,
of Dream's
everybody.
face reveal where
Self-proclaimed
people are
haver
watching
of
it in a
skills,
Discord?
maker of
And they
things,
just started
doer
dying
of
laughing.
Stuff.
No.
Incredibly Reddit coded. It's to be
It's so
honest with
funny.
you, that entire bio screams I am a millennial Reddit user. But alas, that is who Tyler is. And also, yes, Tyler is a major fan of Wilbur Soot.
No, 'cause
At the time of
I'll end
recording
up breaking
this
it.
video, multiple videos have been going viral recently about this man's obsession. It is to a level of which you could describe as unhinged, where it's getting to a point of where this individual is
What's
being
happening?
speculated to have considered to move to Brighton
Oh.
to be near Wilbur. And given the sheer virality
Oh my
of this
God!
individual, it really did have me wondering, how does somebody get to this point? How does somebody get to a point of where they have basically dedicated their entire well-being in life to one individual?
Lamau.
To the point of where they've now defended Wilbur Soot in the Shelby situation multiple times, as you'll see in this video. And it really has me fascinated to wonder, how can someone get to this point? So what I want to do in this chapter is explore the origins of this individual. And not to garner sympathy for the individual, but to just understand. Because as somebody that does this for a job, sometimes I do get confused
I put it
with
in
a lot of the
memes.
people that I talk about. And this person definitely confuses me. Are they doing it for clout? Is it a real obsession?
Okay.
Well, Let's find out. Now, Tyler Catastrophe, also known as Tyler Salona, was born on April the 15th.
So, for you guys that need a little context, Tyler is obsessed with this content creator named Wilbur Soot, who, mind you, was heavily looked into and canceled after his girlfriend, and I want to say some other people came out with some allegations against him. And not only that, like, yo, dude was weird. He was like biting people when they didn't want to be bit. I know we're starting with the biting, but I know some of you bitches in here be biting. Something happened when you're 5 and we never let them gums go. Okay, I get it. I look, whenever I say that, I know that some people are like, I'm a biter. I'm like, okay, whatever. But he was biting people that didn't want to be bit.
I bit a kid one time in 5th grade.
Like, physical.
Probably not to this extent.
So he gets a lot of heat for that. Understandably so, a few years ago. But I think what's interesting here is, like, Tyler doesn't care. See, look, there's the bitey people in chat. I know y'all. Y'all in here. I find interesting about this is Tyler does not care about that at all. Like, doesn't care that Wilbur, was hurting ex-girlfriends. Doesn't care that the general public doesn't really like him. He's like, that's my man. He's like, excuse me, that right there, that is my man. I'm sorry.
Tyler Salona was born on April the 15th, 1999.
Would you send a birthday card to a stranger, yes or no? Because I'm going to be 26 in a week. Like April 15th specifically.
Now, I just realized at the time of recording this video, it's actually his birthday.
Shut the
He was talking to someone I had a little crush on, and I turned around and bit him while we were in line to go to an assembly. And then the principal yelled at me when I couldn't explain myself.
Those little moments where we all laugh together at one.
Because I didn't understand it at the time.
That's hilarious.
Well, don't comment happy birthday. Now, Tyler was originally born in Oklahoma. If you're from Oklahoma, I'm sorry to let you know that. But eventually, he ended up relocating to Texas. But honestly, when you take a brief look at this person's social media, Tyler just comes off as a pretty successful business person. They come off as somebody who really is just living the dream of running their own business and making a lot of money from their business, according to them.
My attention, some of you still don't know who I am. But luckily, I do. And since I'm currently in the process of using my art and jewelry as a means to move all the way from Texas to the UK in the hopes of acquiring—
Dude, it's giving, hi everybody. I know. You've been waiting. Well, I can't believe I'm wearing a choker in this video. How the is my choker one string and one object, and it looks better than Tyler? I am gonna roast these necklaces because you're talking about some $200, $300. Girl, if you took that little sunflower and put it on this string on my neck, how fire would that be? Oh, by the way, it's here. That's right, the unmedicated and weird shirts. Listen, I moved as quickly as I could to get these made. And some of you, you're going to be like, this is old news. No, it's not. You know why? Because not the rest of us don't have TikTok brain, and we're still
Wish to donate to
unmedicated
Extra
and weird
Life?
by TikTok
Follow
brain.
the
I mean,
link.
like, oh, the
And thank
joke's not
you.
over. The joke is forever.
This is what we do now. This is who we are.
I've been in this joke forever.
I was born in it.
Sorry, I'm losing it today. I'm in a good mood. The t-shirts are here. You can buy them at bosversustheworld.net. We're starting off with the unmedicated and weird, but I've heard that some medicated weirdos need a t-shirt too. Please buy a shirt. Please buy a tote. Last but not least, I do want to mention, I made the design very, very simple. We could have added more and more to the design, but I love the simplicity and the close letters and the just kind of like, yep, this is it. And if you see another bozo out in the wild wearing the shirt or hoodie, you've got to look at them and just give them the head nod. Bozos in the wild, okay? Y'all know we all have anxiety. We can't say hey to each other, dab each other up, be like, what's up? But if you see somebody wearing the shirt and you know, just hit them with the... How funny would that be if you were wearing the hoodie and somebody hit you with that at the airport? Ugh, I love it.
My attention, some of you still don't know who I am. But luckily, I do. And since I'm currently in the process of using my art and jewelry as a
She
means to move
yaps
all the
too
way from
much.
Texas
I
to the
wanna
UK,
just watch
in
the
the
OG
hopes of
video.
acquiring some variation of a global talent visa so I can continue my work. I think
We
it might be
can
time to
put the
brag.
OG video on. Hold on.
Lamau.
I can be bullied.
Yay bullying.
Wait, there's 2 videos.
Best way to get what you W&T.
Oh, okay. So this is the first one.
Just in general, your favorite artist channel are abusing her.
I didn't.
The reason you're saying
Said that
actually with Tyler Minecraft audiences got big and a lot of people started to have to be somebody who really moving across continents just to meet this person. And there are a lot of stories scoring a little individual. And you may be wondering, well, who is this person? It's this guy. While alone to him as 2024 in play. Yes, now is not who will face a large amount of is Wilbur Sir. Initially gave his friends videos, really led dreaming people watching this video. Wilbur from the Dream SM into everybody's loved this something the community mess and cream this out. And we'll think about a variety, but it was just synonymous.
Hear about physical abuse? I think of hitting. I think of hitting.
Station-based streaming channel called the Dream SMP. And I understand there are a few people watching this video right now that probably would have just got whiplash because yes, of course, Wilbur joined the Dream SMP. Yes, there were other Minecraft collaborations previously, but it was really the Dream SMP where Wilbur garnered a large amount of fame. Because yes, from the Dream SMP, Wilbur started to develop an extremely dedicated audience. He was arguably, in 2020, one of the biggest content creators about. He was simply everywhere, skyrocketing himself to fame, which then led him to take up one of his hobbies and make it more of a main career path when he started a band called Lovejoy. And at that point in 2020 and 2021, things were just going pretty tremendously for this guy. Like, I remember seeing how much Wilbur was blowing up, and it was genuinely something that I've never witnessed before, especially considering that I am in the UK community, he is in the UK community. It was such a fascinating thing to see him go from Soot House to Lovejoy and Dream SMP. In general, this guy was doing absolutely incredibly in terms of social media. But behind the scenes, it was very clear that things weren't right only a few years later when everything around Wilbur came crashing down. Because yes, in 2024, Wilbur's ex-partner Shelby started up a live stream in which she spoke about a past abuse situation with an unnamed partner that she had personally experienced. Shelby spoke about a variety of issues, such as how this situation wasn't a thing of punching or hitting, but it was actually to do with biting, and biting will become something just synonymous with Wilbur Soot basically forever from this point.
When I hear about physical abuse, I think of hitting. I think of hitting and punching. So I thought that this wasn't violent enough to be abuse. I thought that it was just like a constant accident that he kept hurting me. But he's not hitting me. And it didn't start as something that he did to hurt me.
Constant accident
of biting, which is so weird to me now, but he said that he had this
don't think you
habit
can
since he
use
was a
those
kid,
two
and
words
even
together.
His mom said that that was true. And he said it was just affectionate, and that might have been, I mean, I think that might have been true maybe at the start, but I also feel that I have good reason to believe that
remember
every
some guy
part of
who
it
got so obsessed with
was a
some
lie,
female
but that's just
streamer
my
who did, if
personal
I
opinion.
think, and he thought she was doing
and
it
I
for
have no
him
problem with
personally, and he
just
found out she
biting.
had a
That isn't
BF, and then
even
he
the
set her
most
car on
uncommon
fire after
thing.
driving 4 states away.
but he did mention something.
You can mention
early that I should
Amaranth.
have taken as a red flag.
Oh no,
and he
she
wanted
didn't
to
do
make sure that I
OnlyFans, so
was
maybe it's a
okay with
different
him
streamer.
biting me because he didn't want me to come back.
But someone
later
did set
and
Amaranth's
say
car
that
on
he
fire.
abused me,
I'm pretty
which
sure.
I thought was really weird, considering he had never hurt me before. And so why would I call it abuse? And why was
No,
he
it wasn't
thinking about
Amaranth.
that? And I thought he was being sweet, checking on me to make sure that I was still comfortable.
Also, she
But
definitely
of
does
course
of
I
what
was,
do you
because
mean?
he hadn't hurt me. And why would I think he ever would? And then he did, for the first time, by accident. And I don't specifically remember the actual first time that he bit me too hard by accident, because I didn't think that it would be
I don't
significant.
take out I don't search
I thought
out
that it
that
would only happen
content,
once.
so I don't
And he
know.
started biting me more and more over a period of time, sort of throughout the whole relationship. And
I know
accidents of him
Pokimane
biting
doesn't.
too hard and really hurting me happened more and more frequently. But he always seemed genuinely sorry, and he decided that he didn't want to keep accidentally hurting me. So we were going to use a safe word, so he could learn where my limit was, where my pain tolerance ended.
Now, yes, at this point of time, when people were watching this live stream, there was a lot of shock, there was a lot of concern, and of course the individual that Shelby was talking about had not been named in this live stream, and of course that was going to lead to questions of who is Shelby talking about. And of course, speculating about an abusive situation is obviously not a good thing, and at that point of time, there were a lot of people condoning people for trying to point the blame on certain influencers. But naturally, people's minds were wondering, and it's pretty hard not to. Because with what was being described by Shelby, it was very clear that this was serious. Shelby spoke about how this individual would bite her, and she would shout out in pain, how there were bruises all over her arm, and apparently the person would poke at them and even joke about the bruises, where
That
they would
guy's
state
crazy.
that it's like that they are abusing her.
I didn't like it, and I tried telling him over and over again, because he wasn't actually trying at all to not hurt me. But he said he would try at first. And then he started saying things like, it was my pain tolerance that was too low, or I'm exaggerating how much it actually hurts. He's not even biting
I can't
that
imagine
hard.
hurting
I'm being
anyone I'm in a
dramatic.
relationship, even by accident or just,
But his
like
biting
if was into
escalated
something
to
odd
a
right.
point where
right?
I was covered in bruises all over my arms, and they hurt, and he would poke at them for fun. And he even felt so comfortable showing off my bruises that he had caused.
Ooh, I can hear her
to our
voice
friends
breaking.
because
I
he
can
would
tell.
bite me so hard by
like,
accident.
like
By accident, he would even joke that it looked like he abused me. And eventually he did acknowledge how bad it looked.
Now, yes, obviously at the time and still to this day, this was absolutely horrible to hear.
Even if I had a GF and they asked me to slap them or
Shelby
something
herself
like
was
that, I
very
wouldn't
much
be able
a
to do
beloved
it.
person in the streaming community. She is someone that for years had also built up a very big community for herself. So for her audience to hear that she had had to endure and experience this horrific treatment, it absolutely was a shock to her audience. And honestly, I think a lot of people didn't really know how to react to this situation. Especially
Wish to
with
donate
the
to
detail
Extra
that
Life?
Shelby continues
Follow
to
the
get
link.
into.
And
There were
thank you.
mentions of safe words where Shelby confirmed that yes, her and this unnamed individual did have a safe word, but it very much got to a point of where it felt like this safe word was weaponized, where the person was pretty much just biting down as hard as they possibly could to almost seemingly test the safe word. Shelby confirmed that she had to sometimes yell out because it hurt so badly, and according to her, the figure would purposely clamp down even harder before then letting go. And this safe word is a very important part of this story.
Was she
because
dating a
Shelby's
shark?
apostrophe is going to weaponize that element of the story later on, but we will leave that there. But of course, this is absolutely terrible, and there is a lot more that we could get to. I'm definitely skimming through the story here, but what you really need to know is what I've told you so far. But as I said, people were speculating. People were concerned and wanted to know who is Shelby talking about, because Shelby seemingly in the
That's
past
dangerous too.
had speculation
You break
that
the
she was
skin while
dating
biting
certain other
someone
content
that can turn
creators
septic so
throughout her
fast because of
history
the
as an
properties in
influencer.
saliva.
It's a pretty
Right?
normal thing. content creators date content creators, and certain individuals, because of that, were having blame pointed at them. And a lot of that came from some of the things that Shelby said in her live stream that now appeared to be some form of clues. And of course, I'm not saying that Shelby deliberately left clues, it was just her honest story. But yes, some of the things that she said were being used as clues, and the main clue being
Twilight?
the British
I never
elements.
played that Zelda
Because in
game.
Shelby's video, she did mention that this whole thing took place
Candy
in Britain
KTE.
because the person she dated was living in a house in Britain that got to a point of where there was an ant infestation due to how disgusting and filthy the house was, and the person defended it by stating that this is just a regular thing that happens in British houses.
That's my favorite Zelda
which I need
game.
to confirm. I've lived in a lot of council houses. I definitely have lived in some pretty shitty places, and we've never had an ant infestation. So I don't know what this person was doing, but it definitely isn't a normal thing. And yes, these clues led to internet users naturally putting the dots together, and as you can see in this Reddit post here, it says many are speculating that Wilbur abused Shelby, where they link screenshots of friends of Wilbur, mentioning that Wilbur had an ant problem at his house, and on top of that, Wilbur in the past had apparently stated that he did not take care of himself during lockdowns and did not take care of his home, which of course was something that Shelby had said in her live stream.
And I'm not saying any of
We
this
have
next
ants at
part
my
to be mean.
mom's. We have no idea why either, cause we keep
he
it clean and it's
lived
basically a brand new
in
build.
filth.
Has it been like raining
Like,
a lot?
I
Has like the
have
weather gotten
never
like
seen.
real warm then
And
real
I've
cold?
seen
Because
filth.
we had him in
This
the
was the
office
worst.
last
He
week
would
because of
spill
that.
things on the floor and never, literally never, clean them up. He got an ant infestation
Visit
once, and
GoSpaceMermaid's
wasn't going to do
Ko-fi
anything
page
about
at
it because
link.
he said, bugs are normal in British houses.
Now look, unfortunately, I am British, and I do need to confirm to you that, again, this is not something that takes place in British households for the most part, and is usually something
Oh,
that
yeah,
happens
it
when,
has.
well, you
It's
spill
been
the
wet
it's
for
water
over
probably
2
because of
months
that.
because of how much snow
leave it out,
melted.
leave the doors open, and then, of course, an ant
They just don't
may
have
come
like
in
a
and
safe
some more ants, but
place.
that's not usually something that happens in even a relatively clean household. It doesn't need to be sparkling clean, you just need to clean up after yourself.
Ants
And
come
something
through my
Shelby will
vents.
speak about in
Had
her
to
live
put
stream
traps
is
near
that, well,
them.
Wilbur would
JTS
spill
okay
things
for
and
now.
just not clean these things, and yeah, stuff like that, especially in the UK, will actually lead to an ant infestation that of course is filth and not taking care of yourself, and of course things are starting to line
One
up
thing that I
here.
didn't
But
know
then
is they
speculation
attracted to
only
water.
continued after people started tweeting out old videos of friends of Wilbur Soot speaking about Wilbur Soot's previous biting habits. And yes, that sounds like a joke, but it actually is something that Wilbur had apparently got up to in his time with his friends.
So sinks and faucets.
He keeps biting me. Actually, Will bites me sometimes, and I get so many bruises all the time from him biting me.
I thought you were saying that you bite people.
No, Will bites me.
Will hurt me more with biting. Wilbur Soot has bitten me harder than that.
Yeah.
He just bites everyone. He'd bite you.
Never bit me, Mom.
He would. Wilbur Soot bites.
I'll put you on the boat, thanks.
Now, yeah, obviously this, the filth, and everything else, it was all very much lining up that Shelby's story was about Wilbur Soot. Now, Shelby at that point had not confirmed anything. She had not said that it was Wilbur. And in fact, the person that confirmed that this was about Wilbur was Wilbur himself.
Wish to donate
Because,
to
yes,
Extra
on the
Life?
27th of February,
Follow the link.
Wilbur Soot
And thank
posted a
you.
response to these allegations where he confirms that it was him that Shelby was speaking about. And yes, for context's sake, we are going to go through this. In the past week, a series of allegations have been made over my conduct from an ex-girlfriend. I want to emphasize that although I feel it fair to offer my perspective, this person's feelings are completely valid. I have taken my time sharing the statement as I want to process and respond respectfully and with the hope to gain a deeper understanding for the situation. During our relationship's final months, I regrettably became slobbish, disrespectful, and selfish. These actions caused a lot of pain to my ex-girlfriend, and I have since sought therapy to address these behaviors, making significant lifestyle changes to rectify my past actions. I have come to realize how much my past behavior hurt this person, but I truly, compassionately believe that I have made great strides from the person I once was, and I hope I can continue to grow and improve on this trajectory. Now, this was the first half to the apology. And honestly, even looking back like 2 years later, the immediate thing that I noticed with this apology is it is very self-centered. Like, he says here that basically Shelby's feelings are valid and he's trying to be respectful, but I'm not really seeing an immediate apology. It's just me. I've gone to therapy. I'm becoming a better person, which in my case personally,
speaking of therapy, my therapist went on maternity leave, so now I gotta make an appointment with someone else, or just wait till she comes back in 11 months.
I'm sorry. You know, I feel like a better way to do this
if she even come back.
Apology, because spoiler alert, he
That's
does
the
go on
worst.
to apologize. But if you wanted to,
honestly,
I
I think making an appointment with another doctor is your best bet, just in case she does decide not to come back.
And not seem like he had an early version of ChatGPT to write this apology. Because yes, in the second section, Wilbur says, the allegations of abuse, particularly in the form of biting, deeply shocked me. Throughout our relationship, I understand from our numerous conversations and text messages exchanges on the subject that this behavior was consensual, playful, and reciprocally enjoyed. To truly believe those personal message exchanges reflect mutual affection and understanding, out of respect for her, I chose not to publish them, and I emphasize my perspective is not shared to diminish or invalidate anyone's feelings. I mean, it is. You wouldn't include it if it wasn't. The reason you're saying that is because you're trying to play both sides here. You know people will get angry at you denying these things and it basically victim blaming, but also you want to put out a denial. You want to say that this isn't true, which then makes this next part even more confusing. Because he says, instead, I share it in the hope that I can offer a genuine,
I chose not to publish them. In other words, I knew they'd prove me wrong.
While I may perceive our interactions differently, I recognize that this person has processed and expressed feelings of hurt. I want to extend my sincerest apologies for any pain that I caused. I am fully committed to understanding and addressing her concerns going forward. I hope my perspectives shed light on this situation without detracting from its message. I am dedicated to earning and maintaining the trust of those around me, and I hope I continue to be held to these high standards I wish to attain and maintain. Will. Now, immediately out of the gate, I feel like this apology is genuinely bad. Even 2 years later, I don't necessarily think it has aged well. And
like,
yes,
she's a big streamer, isn't she? I think she'd release them anyways to prove her point.
Response was about you.
Like, she could have just said it was him.
It was not an immediate jump into an
and
apology.
She didn't.
And in fact,
so, like,
only the last part of the apology was an apology. And that, to a lot of people, was very, very aggravating. And also, it speaks about consent in this situation. And whilst that will be a debate that he is probably going to push for the rest of time, Shelby specifically spoke about in her live stream that the idea of having a safe word was weaponized against her, and it was used as a way to pretty much bite as much as possible.
He started biting me more and more over a period of time, sort of throughout the whole relationship, and accidents of him biting too hard and really hurting me happened more and more frequently.
And there were, of course, the references to laughing about abuse and laughing about that type of stuff going on, and also about the clamping down on the arm and how she had to pretty much scream in pain when it came to the safe word. It pretty much felt that, yes, there was a safe word, but from what I can see, it was almost just used as an excuse to try and push the barriers. And it very much felt that a lot of people had the same feeling. But also, if you truly do not believe these allegations to be true, then why would you apologize? Why would you say sorry? None of it makes sense. Why would you refer to pain that may have been caused? This response is just trying to play both sides, and it absolutely went down terribly. And yeah, immediately it led to him being ratioed in the reply section. And in fact, a large amount of the replies were actually former associates of Wilbur, saying things such as how the response was terrible, but it doesn't surprise them at all, and how that they've witnessed Wilbur apparently be manipulative to so many people around them, and it's clear that he hasn't changed a bit. They state, your apology is so self-centered, and you're more concerned about your own career than the amount of harm you've caused. And yeah, that pretty much at the time, and still to this day, is the general consensus surrounding this situation between Shelby and Wilbur. It seems that most people are on Shelby's side, and of course there's always going to be debate in every single situation, but overall, Wilbur Soot came out of this looking terrible, and he never even got close to the heights that his career was once at between the years of 2019 and 2023. Most of Wilbur's peers no longer wanted anything to do with him, and he pretty much just vanished from the internet for a good period of time. It very much felt that the story was over, and that pretty much was that. Wilbur's very dedicated fan base that I mentioned at the beginning of this, well, that became a very, very small fan base. In fact, the majority of it just faded off into obscurity. But of course, there was some fans that remained, and in that fan base, of course, there were a lot of people, a lot of interesting individuals, because it definitely does take an interesting individual to stand by somebody after everything that took place, and there was one person that stood by Wilbur more than anybody. And with that, it takes us back to the individual known as Tyler Catastrophe. So yes, for the third time, meet Tyler Catastrophe, the person that I briefly introduced you to at the beginning of this video. It's time to talk about everything to do with this individual. Because yes, in 2026, Tyler Catastrophe has been making a name for himself for pretty much all of the wrong reasons, and it all is attributed to Wilbur Soot.
I'm here to tell you happy birthday, because it is your birthday, so have a very happy birthday. Hope your life isn't short.
But the question is, who is Tyler? Well, Tyler is a 27-year-old, self-proclaimed haver of skills, maker of things, doer of stuff. It is incredibly Reddit.
I hate him already.
To be honest with you, that entire bio screams I am a millennial Reddit user. But alas,
my bios don't even look like that.
And also, yes, Tyler is a major fan of Wilbur Soot. At the time of recording this video, multiple videos have been going viral recently about this man's obsession. It is to a level of which you could describe as unhinged, where it's getting to a point of where this individual is being speculated to have considered to move to Brighton to be near Wilbur. And given the sheer virality of this individual, it really did have me wondering, how does somebody get to this point?
No, he's not a fan. He's a stalker who thinks he's best friends with someone he's ever met.
Basically dedicated their entire well-being in life to one individual, to the point of where they've now defended Wilbur Soot in the Shelby situation multiple times, as you'll see in this video, and it really has me fascinated to wonder, how can someone get to this point? So what I want to do in this chapter is explore
unlike us where we're actually best friends,
of this individual. And not to garner sympathy for the individual, but to just understand. Because as somebody that does this for a job, sometimes I do get confused with a lot of the people that I talk about. And this person definitely confuses me. Are they doing it for clout? Is it a real obsession? Well, now, Tyler Catastrophe, also known as Tyler Salona, was born on April the 15th, 1999.
Would you send a birthday card to a stranger, yes or no? Because I'm going to be 26 in a week, like April 15th specifically.
Now, I just realized at the time of recording this video, it's actually his birthday. Well, don't comment happy birthday. Now, Tyler was originally born in Oklahoma. If you're from Oklahoma, I'm sorry to let you know that. But eventually,
maybe in confusing
he ended
streams,
up relocating
but
to
maybe not.
Texas.
Were you into
but
Poppy
honestly,
Playtime?
Take a brief look at this person's social media. Tyler just comes off as
I have
watched business person. They come off as somebody who
multiple people
really
play it.
is
I have
just
not
living
played
the
it
dream of
myself,
running their own business,
and I haven't
making
watched
a lot of
anything
money
about
from
it in
the
a while,
business,
specifically
according to
so that
them.
when I go to
My
play it, I
attention,
don't
some
remember
of you
anything.
still don't know who I am. But luckily, I do. And since I'm currently in the process of using my art and jewelry as a means to move all the way from Texas to the UK, in the hopes of acquiring some variation of a global talent visa so I can continue my work, I think it might be time to brag a little. So hi, my name is Tyler Salona, otherwise known as Tyler Catastrophe. I'm from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, currently living in North Texas. I'm an accomplished lifelong musician, a published poet, an exhibited artist and painter, and I'm known internationally as a weaver, beadworker, and jewelry designer. I've sold tens of thousands of pieces of artwork and jewelry, both in person and online. I've shipped to all 50 states.
I have semi-watched
and
some
26
people.
countries on
I started
5
paying
continents,
attention around
including
chapter
Antarctica
5.
so far.
It seems interesting
I've done dozens
enough
of
now.
in-person vendor
Hello.
events. If not over 100, I didn't count. I've shown my work in
Oklahoma?
multiple exhibitions,
Well, that explains
including
it.
an exhibition for Clara Looper, the mother of the civil rights movement in Oklahoma, as well as a solo exhibition in Denton, Texas that lasted over a month. And in just the past 5 years, I've designed unique, one-of-a-kind jewelry you can't find anywhere
I've also
else.
had
It's
art
been worn for
exhibited.
everything
It's
from
not
weddings to
hard when you're in
cosplays,
college.
from TED Talks to fashion shows. And so far, my work has a 100% success rate when it comes to marriage proposals. All of my work adheres to very strict quality control. Like this pink and green piece that I designed as a fun challenge to match this Ellie Saab gown from the 2025 Spring Couture collection. And every detail from the structure of the weave itself,
It's not
the
even
quality
hard
of
if you're
each
not in
individual
college.
bead and gemstone I use, is held to a meticulous standard that I will never compromise
Also,
on.
someone
And I
in
have
one
6
in
custom
Boza's
pieces
stream made a
currently under
point
contract
that
for a movie that
shows
should be
and
recommencing
galleries.
filming in the coming
that
months.
the
Like this
term
one,
bead
that is
worker
absolutely
is
full of so much
most
amethyst. I've
commonly
helped multiple
used
young
in
artists,
native
musicians get their foot in the door
communities.
and make their starts, and the respect and
So-
reputation I've worked very hard to earn from peers, clients, fellow artists, event organizers means that my confidence in myself and my abilities and my work is pretty much unshakable at this point. And as someone who was born into generational poverty and started this journey with virtually zero support system, I have blown past so many personal limits, pushed so many creative and professional boundaries, that there is genuinely not a single person on the entire earth who could ever make me believe that I don't rightfully deserve to feel pride in who I am and what I've accomplished.
Now, yeah, Tyler seems very confident in what they do, and honestly, I'm not going to mock them for what they do. If they were just a necklace maker, I would actually say, hey, that's pretty cool, you go and make your bag. Now, Tyler's actual necklaces and the jewelry that they make has gone viral. A lot of people have been speaking about the things that he makes, and some have been debating that it's overpriced. Honestly, I don't really think it's relevant to the conversation that we're having today, but yeah, I wanted to establish this individual has supposedly, according to him at least, run a very, very successful jewelry selling business. And yeah, over the years, Tyler has documented this jewelry on social media, and in general, Tyler has also spoke about his personal journey in his life. For example, in 2022, Tyler gained a little bit of popularity on TikTok when he spoke about the treatment that he had received in his childhood from his parents, who had supposedly neglected him and prioritized their brother, who had more, well, I guess, conventional interests.
Growing up, my parents helped run a non-profit soccer park, so when my brother started showing real actual talent and drive, you can see where their favorite was. And because goalies are highly sought after, and he was one of the best, my childhood was spent in the back of the car raising myself while he was doing Olympic development, out-of-state tournaments, constant practices, conditioning sessions, games, everything. And don't get me wrong, soccer's great. I was a referee for 6 years. It's fun. I like the sport. Fully admit that he was good, but we both had the exact same amount of talent, passion, and drive in different areas, and I was the one who was always made to sacrifice. Because sports get scholarships, and he's gonna buy his mom a house one day, and I was a musician who was incredibly good, but everyone knows musicians are destined to fail. So it was constantly, we don't have enough money for this thing, Patrick needs new uniforms. You can't go to this thing.
Uniforms are
We have
expensive!
to go to Patrick's game. You have to leave early for this thing because Patrick has a tournament in the morning. Do you have any idea how humiliating it is to be in marching band? Okay, you're in marching band. You've just given one of the best performances you guys have given
Upward,
all
baby.
season.
So what?
And
You're living
you
on
have
your
to
own
leave
now and are
early
now a
and
crazy
tell your
stanzo.
director that you have to leave early and have no choice because you made the mistake of inviting your parents because you
Not a
thought
good
that they
track
would be
record
proud
of
you.
getting over
Nope.
things.
But your little brother has a game in the morning and they want to go home. I didn't even get to practice at home because it annoyed my brother. So when I didn't get to take myself seriously until college, so while this kid had literally everything handed to him on
Wish
a
to
silver
donate to
platter,
Extra
offers
Life?
by freshman
Follow
year,
the link.
scouted
And thank
by
you.
Premier League teams, the Olympics. He got himself kicked off the soccer team, dropped out of high school, got a girl pregnant, and then just this weekend, got married with a gun on his hip that matched his suspenders. And considering how racist, homophobic, and just overall a bitch he is, I do not feel bad at all for how much pride I take in the fact that I made it and he didn't. The kid was a bully who told me to kill myself almost every day of my life. And now I've got famous people who say my name on a regular basis, and he's got a job at the same company my dad's worked for, like, basically our entire lives. So yeah, I think parents need to be way more careful which kid they choose to bet against.
So yeah, it is very clear from
I don't think they
young
betted
age,
against
Tyler
you.
didn't
I think
necessarily
that
have a role model for a parent. He didn't really have the parents there for him. And you're
sports
going to go on to find out that
take
these
up a
parents
lot
were
more
very
time.
neglectful. And I don't again say this to create a sob story or a piece of sympathy, but it is generally to get to an understanding of where we are at. Because yes, Tyler has developed a parasocial relationship with Wilbur over the last
This
few
guy's
years,
such a
and a lot of
narcissist,
that,
which is
from what I've
ironic
read at
seeing how he
least,
felt
can
no
be
one cared
attributed
about him.
to some of the things that he's spoken about from his childhood. And I'm not trying to diagnose anything here, but there have been a lot of psychologists that have written about attachment theory, where it suggests that individuals who didn't form a strong bond with a primary caregiver in early childhood will try to find an attachment substitute as adults, and engaging in parasocial relationships allows them to do so. And look, it is a bit of a joke in a lot of social media when somebody sees someone in a fan base who has dedicated their entire life to something to be called fatherless or it's fatherless behavior. Now, personally, I don't necessarily think this can be for literally every single situation. I'm not gonna lie to you, my friends. When I was a kid, actually, I joke about it, but my parents... maybe it applies to me in some cases, but I've ran things in the past where, you know, like I wrote fan fiction for the Avatar: The Last Airbender series and stuff like that. I've done it. I wouldn't necessarily say it's fatherless behavior, but to some, it can lead to that.
Well, that's Boo Bo's. He ended up on Narc Week. She does a week where they watch a bunch of narcissists. So I think that's how
according to him, was a
I got to this.
abuser who made his family go homeless and is factually the worst person he ever knew.
My biological father is the worst person I've ever known, which is actually why when people ask, I usually just say he's dead. Because he is dead. To me. I honestly believe he is the sole reason my entire life has felt as if I was moving through quicksand. But now I'm ready to run. And now that my youngest sibling is over the age of 18 and can no longer be used as leverage and can also leave if she wants, I really want to see what happens when a scapegoat sings like a canary. But because I want this to be an ongoing series, and because I know he likes to sue, a little disclaimer.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Everything I have to say on this topic is based on my own personal experiences and observations, and is, to the best of my knowledge and intention, true. Also, I won't be naming any names, so... best of luck! Also, on an unrelated note, I have all of these things and the clicky thing that you click on. Might as well give them a look if you want. My parents got divorced when I was a senior in high school, and I wish they'd done it sooner. My father had been cheating on my mother for who knows how long, and doing a whole bunch of other stuff that really made it seem like he just wanted her to kick him out. But the straw that really broke the camel's back was on Thanksgiving of all days, when my mother realized he had been shopping for holsters on their joint Amazon account. And because there were a lot of mental health issues in that house, my mother's one hard deal breaker was no firearms. But he had had one for a while, and he made me and my siblings who knew about it keep it a secret from her. So when she gave him an ultimatum, either it goes or you go, he ran like a bat out of hell. He literally dragged my mother down the driveway with his truck because she didn't want him to leave. And because we were all worried that he was going to himself, I was the one who had to call his parents. Me, a senior in high school, who had just had to place himself between his father, who had a firearm, and his siblings who hated him. But the real kicker is that one of the first things he did was drain the family bank accounts. And as far as I know, every single one he had access to. And for a little background here, my mother was a nurse for most of my childhood, but then when I was in middle school, I think, she went back to college and became a school teacher. And she taught in Oklahoma, so clearly she would not have enough money to care for all three of us. So effectively, he had forced her hand and made her sign over the rights to her children. I adamantly refused to go with him, and the second I put my foot down, it really started to feel like he wanted to make me regret it. Which is probably where we'll start part 2.
So yeah, obviously, despite what we're going to get into later on, I feel bad that he had to endure this and go through these horrible experiences. And again, I say these things to basically build the structure and story of what we're going to get into, and to kind of explain how somebody would get to the depths of defending somebody so much for some of the reasons that they give in the future. And by the way, I'm not trying to diagnose him with anything here. I'm more just speaking about how there are a lot of textbooks and papers out there that point to this type of behavior and give certain reasons. So yeah, not doing a Shane Dawson, Jake Paul series here. But in fairness to Tyler, it was very clear that this wasn't going to stop him pursuing his dreams. And eventually, Tyler actually did go to college to study music production and business. Well, he claims that he did, but this is where I kind of get a little bit confused, and maybe my American compadres can help me out here. Because yeah, in October 2019, Tyler was hit by an SUV me, causing health complications with his lungs that caused him to have to drop out of college and leave a band, as he was not able to sing anymore due to his health complications. But despite leaving college, he also at the same time claims that he actually did major.
So I'm definitely a big Lovejoy fan. Like, any band that uses trumpets and lyricism well together immediately has my heart. There's no other way. I'm just stuck for life. And because they got so big before they had played shows, I knew exactly what was going to happen. Because with a little bit of my background between being a musician my whole life, going to anything from $5 basement shows to $300 stadium shows to fucking Warped Tour, I also majored in music production and business with a heavy focus on event management and coordination. I've had my place on various guest lists, and I've been known to get bands gigs.
So yeah, he did major, but he also dropped out from college. Now, from my own research, apparently majoring and actually fully graduating with a degree is a different thing. I'm not actually 100% sure, to be honest with you. It's not exactly that important of a detail, but if you want to let me know down below, you can let me know down below. But also in another interview in 2026, Tyler did confirm that he did drop out, so I am a little bit confused. I'm not going to say he was lying, but maybe this is just me misunderstanding. But the reason that I speak about this is to kind of show to you that from a younger age, it was very clear that Tyler had interest in music, singing, and the arts. Say and the arts, like music and singing just aren't arts. I mean, for certain artists, it definitely is an art. That contradicts itself in them being an artist, but ignore me. But this is where we need to move into 2022, when Tyler started a GoFundMe to help, quote-unquote, a disabled trans guy escape Texas. He stated that his name was Tyler, and he's a disabled transgender artist stuck in Texas, and he's been given an amazing opportunity in England to further his art career. Now, honestly, power to you, but I genuinely don't understand why somebody would be trying to escape Texas. I mean, I know it's a right-wing place, but to go to the UK, especially given, you know, being trans and disabled, I mean, the UK is quite literally known as Turf Island. The treatment of trans people in the UK is absolutely diabolical, and they are absolutely just completely pushed to the side in the worst possible ways. And the same can be said for disabled people, especially with the way right-wing governments are, well, right-wing parties are rising in this country. So I thought I'd just say there, like, I don't really get I don't get why he would do this. Now, Tyler will go on to claim the specific place that he wanted to move to was a very, you know, left-wing liberal, you know, accepting place, which it definitely is, but there are also very accepting left-wing places in the US as well, and making such a massive, drastic move is something that, well, you have to have real reason for. And, you know, Tyler claims that this was all down to the fact that, as he said previously, he's been given an amazing opportunity.
Hey, could y'all maybe do me a favor real quick and blow this up because it's really important to me? Yeah? Okay, thanks. Love you, bye.
So yeah, Tyler really, really wanted to get to the UK, but unfortunately, it did not happen. Despite the supposed opportunity that they had, it all fell apart, which they explain in this TikTok here.
So y'all know how I was supposed to move to England last year? And how I'm clearly not in England this year? And I know I never really talked about why I did not move to England, because I was angry and trying to preserve other people's feelings. But now it's just really hitting me how f***ed up that situation was. You see, I was supposed to be working in an art studio with an artist that I have been looking up to for a very long time. And I never actually named him, or the studio that I was supposed to be working for, because I don't even know why. Maybe a part of me knew it wasn't going to work out. That part of me should have talked louder. But for nearly a year, I put my life on hold because I thought that this opportunity was going to pan out. Just for him to randomly decide, actually no. And he didn't even have the respect for me to tell me. He just ghosted me. And I had to go through every other person in the studio to try and get an answer until finally his assistant let me know that it just wasn't going to happen. And obviously the plan is still to move to England somehow at some point. That's why the GoFundMe is still up and I haven't done anything with it. But in planning to move to England,
he isn't your friend.
I sold all of my music equipment.
He's
except
some
for my
guy.
instruments. My recording setup, I sold my amps, I sold my cords, I sold fucking everything because I didn't want to lug it across an ocean. And a very large part of me is so angry about it. because it sucks.
So yeah, obviously I can imagine that this was a very disappointing moment in this person's life. They really had a plan, seemingly. They wanted to move to the UK, and they wanted to experience British culture. Not really sure why, to be honest with you, but alas, it was something that they wanted to do. But a lot of people started to ask questions. Is this the real, authentic, 100% reason that this individual wanted to move to the UK? Because this is where the Wilbur Soot conversation starts to come into things. 40 minutes into my video, I know. Because yes, a TikTok in 2026 started to get recirculated and do the rounds, where Tyler Catastrophe claimed that he wanted to move to Brighton.
Seen the guy moving halfway around the world just to be closer to a YouTuber? If y'all think I would make a massive, life-altering decision that takes years of work to achieve, just because I was willing to admit on the internet that I think a musician I don't know has a pretty laugh, then y'all really have the wrong idea. And I suppose you have a better explanation? I was supposed to move to Bournemouth a couple years ago. I had a job lined up, I did a ton of research, made a ton of preparations, admittedly got a little too excited because it ended up falling through at the last minute. But when I finally dusted myself off and got myself back on track, and decided I could probably just move out of the US on my own, England was the easiest choice because I had already done so much of the work. But why Brighton specifically? But when I visited England and met the people I had hoped to be working with, I completely fell in love with the South Coast. I've always wanted to live near the ocean, and it's gorgeous. And Brighton is a really popular city right now. I've got a bunch of friends and support in the area, and like with most college towns, it's got a thriving art and music scene. And people keep telling me it's the gay capital of the UK, which I think is hilarious.
Now, Brighton's a nice place. It's alright. It's got the beach. Not a very good beach, may I say, but it's got a beach. And the South Coast, it's alright. It's alright, you know, it's not even special. It's just nice. It's alright, you know. Go for a day out, get an ice cream, some fish and chips, you know, British culture. You know what I'm saying? But he wanted to move from Texas to Brighton. And, you know, Brighton is a big gay place, of course. But moving across continents is a bit of a move, you know, is a bit of a drastic action. And well, one individual that we've mentioned today, Wilbur Soot, also coincidentally lived in Brighton. And I have kind of jumped around in the timeline here.
Visit GoSpaceMermaid's Ko-fi page at link.
But Tyler's obsession with Wilbur started to do the rounds, and it then led to people finding these TikToks about him wanting to move to Brighton, and it of course made a lot of people out there think that he only wanted to move to the UK to get closer to a certain Wilbur Soot. And yeah, with that, it leads us into the conversations finally surrounding him and his obsession with Wilbur, because yes, a clip from 2024 started to go viral when Tyler made the claim that Shelby was basically not telling the truth and that Wilbur was innocent of everything that he had been accused of. Yes, this is finally the beginning of the obsession with Wilbur. Now, stan culture, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, is definitely something that can be good.
Love have a wonderful stream
very
together.
Positive things. I'm not going to be somebody that directly hates on K-pop stans or, you know, Dan and Phil stans or, they're honestly the only stans that I care about. But I'm not going to hate on them because I think some of them are actually, a lot of them, most of them, in fact, are just people trying to enjoy themselves and celebrate the creators that they love and the fan base that they're in. But this special little cupcake, I can't lie to you, he's the bad example of what stan culture can possibly be. Not a representation of it overall, but definitely, considering what he says about Shelby and Wilbur, well, it's not great.
I do not think that Wilbur Soot is an abuser, and I know I've said that fairly indirectly in the past, especially recently, but I do feel like now it needs to be said point blank. Because as someone who has been a victim of abuse, sexual assault, domestic violence, I know way too well what those things look like.
First things first here, I need to immediately say, if you're a victim of anything, that does not give you the right to look at another victim's story and say, oh, this happened to me, therefore I am the oracle of abuse. That is something that is
And I was wrong.
very frustrating
It's
to
knitting.
see. And it's
What a
something
wonderful
that, as
first
somebody
message
that's
of
covered
me.
a lot of these types of stories over the years, I consistently see where
As a
victim
crafter,
stands up for
I'm
somebody
used to
who has
it.
been accused of a lot of heinous things, and they seem to believe that just because they went through some form of abusive situation, that means that they can now dictate what is right and what is wrong. That is immediately not just a red flag, but just flat out wrong and something that you cannot do. Your personal experiences are personal experiences. You were not in the shoes of Shelby. You were in your own shoes experiencing, yes, what you experienced in the past, and I'm sorry you went through that, but it does not give you the right to attack other victims out there. And of course, this is only the beginning, and it's just going to continuously, progressively get worse from this point. But of course, 10 seconds in, it's an absolute disaster.
And while I know that most of my audience knows how I approach things like this by now, I also know that if I post this video, there will probably be a lot of people who don't know me who see it. So I'm going to try to be as kind, direct, and clear-cut as I can.
It's not kind to be condescending and belittling towards other victims because you're also a victim in another situation. It's not kind to victim blame, and you're doing that. So don't tell me that you're being kind. You're doing the exact opposite of that. You are victim blaming. That's not kind. That's disgusting.
So I'm going to stick to 3 main points from Shovel's VODs. Please go and watch them yourself. You are under no obligation to think the way that I do. And then I'm going to touch on Wilbur's response. And then I think the general response needs to be addressed as well. Because Shovel's main points were that Wilbur was a slob, had a messy house, that she paid for a lot of her way to see him, and that he bit her. For point 1, let's be honest, most men aren't taught how to take care of themselves in their living spaces. And for men in their early 20s, that's a lot worse than it should be.
Firstly, I don't know if that's necessarily true. Of course, a lot of people out there have not taught their children how they should, actually live and be and act, but I feel like a lot of people out there know the difference between being a little bit messy and living in complete disgusting filth. Now, he's obviously going to go and try to use the point of, oh, well, him living in a disgusting house isn't technically abuse, but that's not even the point here. Shelby only mentioned these things in her stream because she was telling her entire story and trying to reflect the fact that she tried her best in every opportunity to help Will, and all he did was cause her pain and stress, like he literally admitted to in his own response and apology. So I am a little bit confused why you come on here and deny these things when Wilbur himself has admitted to causing pain. It is a little bit confusing why he says that, but you say, oh no, I'm a victim, I know what victimhood is.
Every man I dated in their late teens, early 20s was gross. That's just kind of par for the course. It's sucks, but it is to be expected. And it is not, by default, malicious. 2, paying your own way, especially for a distance like that, is kind of expected. And when you take into account that they were both very successful in their respective careers at that point, paying your own expenses isn't by default malicious.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't know Wilbur, but I definitely had association via other mutual friends with Wilbur in the past. These Minecraft YouTubers make money. They made a lot of cheddar. They made a lot of money, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't think Shovel or Shelby made the levels of money these individuals were making, and I honestly think that Wilbur should have paid for the majority of the things, because I feel like if you have a partner and they're a millionaire, I feel like the millionaire should probably pay for the most things. I think that's pretty normal. And again, when Shelby speaks about these types of things, she's building the story and making people understand the ins and outs of their relationship. Of course, it starts to get into more severe and serious things, but she tells these things to let us know what actually took place in this relationship, where both of them were at, and to give an accurate reflection on the story. Of course, the biting element is the most serious part of the story, but just getting on live stream and being like, oh yeah, he bit me, and nothing else, That would be a bit weird, that would be a bit strange, and telling the entire story with context is very important. But of course, this person who is a victim themselves, they know the best way to tell the stories about abuse, and they know what's right and what isn't. Just shut up, honestly. You're just chatting nonsense. And I also feel like Tyler has very much represented that they do not understand this situation completely, because he complains that Shelby mentions the filth, and he complains that Shelby speaks about the amount of money that she had to spend in her relationship with Wilbur, but these two things coincide with each other. There's a reason that she mentioned this when giving a broader picture on what actually took place in their relationship. If she was going to come to a place where it's disgusting, filthy, there's ants everywhere, I do think that Wilbur definitely should have had to pay for certain things, especially considering how much Shelby apparently complained about these things and actually had to clean up the place herself to get rid of things like ant infestations. I feel like the reason she has said these things is to show that Wilbur did not care about her whatsoever. Despite using her hard-earned money to go across to his country to stay with him and visit him, he allowed her to stay in a filthy place where he did not do anything to clear it up, and instead she had to spend her money in clearing that up. And yes, that is neglectful, but oh no, according to Tyler, these things really aren't relevant.
For the third point, Shovel states very clearly in her follow-up VOD that she consented to the biting. She then went on to clarify that what she had an issue with was the fact that it hurt. And while I don't think anyone should be hurt in their relationships, at the end of the day, that is a communication issue. And whether it's just a poor communication or lack thereof, both parties are responsible for that.
Again, I don't understand why he's saying these things when Wilbur has actually apologized for doing this, but also the main point most people have had with this situation is the weaponization of the safe word, with the stories that Shelby gave involving the biting, how it very much did seem, according to the words that she had said, that Wilbur tested this safe word to the maximum extent in seemingly every single scenario. And also I feel like Tyler is forgetting the fact that in Shelby's livestream she stated that the only reason a safe word was invented was because he kept on pushing the biting and hurting her and causing bruises, and even after that it very much seems, at least from my perspective, that the safe word was being weaponized.
But he did mention something early that I should have taken as a red flag, and he wanted to make sure that I was okay with him biting me because he didn't want me to come back later and say that he abused me, which I thought was really weird considering he had never hurt me before. And so why would I call it abuse? And why was he thinking about that? And I thought he was being sweet, checking on me to make sure that I was still comfortable. But of course I was, because he hadn't hurt me. And why would I think he ever would? And then he did for the first time by accident. And I don't specifically remember the actual first time that he bit me too hard by accident because I didn't think that it would be significant. I thought that it would only happen once. And he started biting me more and more over a period of time, sort of throughout the whole relationship. And accidents of him biting too hard and really hurting me happened more and more frequently. But he always seemed genuinely sorry. And he decided that he didn't want to keep accidentally hurting me. So we were going to use a safe word.
Accidents.
So he could learn where my limit was. I didn't like it, and I tried telling him over and over again because he wasn't actually trying at all to not hurt me. But he said he would try at first. And then he started saying things like, it was my pain tolerance.
That's what abusers do.
Too low.
They pretend to be super sorry all the time, but then just keep doing the thing.
He's not even biting that hard. I'm being dramatic. But his biting escalated to a point where I was covered in bruises all over my arms, and they hurt, and he would poke at them for fun. And he even felt so comfortable showing off my bruises that he had caused to our friends because he would bite me so hard by accident. By accident, he would even joke that it looked like he abused me. And eventually he did acknowledge how bad it looked that I was covered in bruises all the time. So he stopped biting my arms as often, and he started biting my legs instead. And it was in the last couple of months of the relationship that every time he bit me, it was until I needed to use this safe word. It had become his benchmark for when to stop.
Now, I understand that we've already seen this clip, but I do feel like it is something that Tyler himself seems to have not seen, or at least is just willingly ignoring, because yeah, in both of those two clips that we just went through, Shelby speaks about how the safe word was formed, and that came from Wilbur accidentally hurting her, and in my opinion, and I do need to say, yeah, that this whole video is my opinion for legal reasons, and there has been no convictions made, but I just need to say that. But yes, it does seem that that safe word was weaponized and used to push the barriers as far as possible. But Tyler willingly ignores all of this and all of the context in the entire situation. But the most important thing here is the fact that Wilbur himself apologized for causing pain and claimed that he wanted to validate Shelby's feelings. So what are we doing here? Why are we even defending the actions when Wilbur himself has put out an apology? Now, obviously, that apology was deliberately vague in my humble opinion, because whilst he claims that yes, he does think that what took place between him and Shelby was consensual, he also states, while I may perceive our interactions differently, I recognize that this person has processed and expressed feelings of hurt, and I want to extend my sincerest apologies for any pain that I caused. Why would he say that if these things weren't true? I think he was trying to play both sides here to limit as much outrage as possible, but all it does come off as, in my opinion, is very PR driven and still an apology to Shelby.
And whether it's just a poor communication or lack thereof, both parties are responsible for that. Because a lack of communication or poor communication on either side is not, by default, malicious. And at the end of the day, when no assault took place, and the end result is just a bad relationship, that is something you handle in private, like adults. And to air personal, adult dirty laundry to a very large, very young audience in a way that is incredibly vague and left open to interpretation.
I don't think any of the stuff that Shelby said was vague or left open for interpretation. In fact, this is one of the most documented stories on the internet in the last few years. The Shelby and Wilbur story went viral because of the amount of information that there was. In fact, a big reason that you've complained about this story and how Shelby handled it was that she actually gave too many details in speaking about the, filthy environment that Wilbur chose to live in and the paying of certain things. You've just complained about that, but now it's a problem that it's vague. That doesn't make any sense. You've said that there's too much detail, but also not enough detail. It's very confusing what the point you're trying to make here.
And left open to interpretation is, at the end of the day, very dishonest and very irresponsible. And that is made evident by the resulting response, where Wilbur Soot met Shovel where she was at, gave a very direct and validating response that responded to what was said, addressed what was said, validated what was said, and gave evidence that he was making moves to be better.
Firstly, he didn't give any evidence to support the fact that he had been changing or doing things to become a better person. Now, obviously, that is a very difficult thing to prove, but I think this immediately shows this person's bias in that they have said that Wilbur's own just words are his form of evidence. But when Shelby says what she says, that's not evidence, that's just gossip that should just be said behind closed doors. And it very much indicates to us that this person is going to do anything to defend Wilbur. Now, Tyler may counter what I just said here with saying, well, Shelby just gave her words in the story, and you're calling me biased for believing Wilbur's
People like
words.
that don't change to better people. They just kind of pretend for a few months and go back to it.
And also, there was tons of evidence out there linking what Shelby said to be a fact. There were former friends that spoke about Wilbur's biting habits, and there was a lot of evidence based on previous clips and previous live streams speaking about Wilbur's filthy lifestyle and just in general Wilbur's habits. I don't necessarily think it's bias to link all of these things together and side with Shelby, but just taking one singular text apology and meaning that proves everything is genuinely biased and pretty insane.
And when that mature adult response
was received by a very angry young audience. It was received as an admission of guilt and seen as validation for the wildly exaggerated rumors that came from leaving that sort of thing open to interpretation. And now, every mention of his name, his band, his career, anyone that has anything to do with him, is met with such vitriolic hatred that there's no room for anyone to improve anything at all.
Now, this is something that I find very interesting. He's basically acting like Lovejoy but cancelled here, but I feel like most people just made up their own opinions to themselves and decided, hey, I don't want to support this band anymore, I don't want to support this artist anymore, and I'm going to go do something better with my life. You, however, are just choosing to remain, which, that's your choice, but rather than just listening to the music and enjoying the music, you're now building a TikTok career of hating on this individual and basically calling them a liar and completely victim blaming them. And again, what confuses me is in this apology, you've said that Wilbur validated some of the things that shall be said. So it's like, what are you even trying to argue here? You yourself have basically admitted that Wilbur admitted to things. But also, it wasn't just a young audience turning on Wilbur. All of his ex-friends had turned on him, who all of them were grown adults. And using the idea of these people being children or young as a way to dismiss them is, again, something a lot of people who go through these serious types of situations do, where they're like, oh, these are just kids. These are just people that don't understand the world. They're just like, well, no, they clearly understand the world more than you do. Because they clearly acknowledge that somebody has admitted to something here, they've said that pain was caused, and they've seen that, and they don't want to support that anymore. How hard is that to understand, and why are you personally so affected by the fact that these individuals chose to get up and leave? Lovejoy can still make music, they still tour, they still make albums, so what is your issue? Well, it does just seem to come down to the fact that this person is quite obsessed with Wilbur, as we're going to continue to discover throughout this video.
And when we live in a world where we were begging everyone and everything at all times to be better than it is, that kind of response does nothing but make everyone worse. And I stand with victims. I am one, several times over. But these sort of things have to be handled in a responsible way, because where we stand right now, with the internet being the way it is, what we've ended up creating under the guise of supporting victims is a culture that has trained children, teenagers, young adults, anyone who will listen, to be internet attack dogs for people that we don't know. And you're allowed to be upset, you're allowed to be angry, you are totally justified in those feelings. But if you allow yourself to be blindly swept up in those feelings and the roar of the crowd around you, eventually you are going to find yourself in a situation where you are being used as a weapon by angry people who just want to see other people burn.
This individual is saying that they stand by victims and they want people to be uplifted and to speak up about their stories, whilst also saying that Shelby used all of her fans and children in her audience as weapons. Do you not understand how derogatory that statement is? Do you not understand how cruel and victim blamey that statement is? You can't get on here and say that you stand by victims, but because your favorite artist is now being accused of something, immediately, oh, actually, no, I don't think we should talk about these things anymore. I don't think the internet should discuss these things anymore. It seems very coincidental that you've always been about abuse until it affects your favorite content creator. And look, you can demean these child audiences all you want, but they've seemingly handled this situation a lot better than you have.
And I'm not saying you should support Will. I'm not saying you should continue listening to Lovejoy just because there's no evidence on either side.
Then what are you saying? If you truly believe that there's no evidence and nothing actually took place here, then why are you saying, well, I don't think you should continue supporting? Well, why? If you think he's innocent, surely double down on this. What he's trying to do here is weirdly play two sides, but it's like, you're calling someone a liar and saying they weaponized children against somebody to basically destroy an individual. That is sick and cruel. You can't play a middle ground while saying these things.
I am saying that it is not your responsibility to be judge, jury, and executioner for people you don't know in situations that you don't understand. Because none of us have all of the information. In fact, in this instance, there was very little information to go on.
You literally have complained in this video about the amount of information that Shelby gave in regards to their entire relationship. What is your point here? Are you mad about all of the information given, or do you want there to be less information or more? I don't really get. And it does just seem that this person is very confused, and I think that does just come down to the fact that this person is desperate to keep on being a fan of Wilbur and to keep on obsessing over Wilbur without facing any form of judgment.
And at the end of the day, ruining someone's life, someone's career, the careers and lives of everyone around them, for the crime of what is ultimately being a bad boyfriend, is not something that is your job to do. These are adults in their 20s and 30s who are still in the f***ing up and learning from it stages of life, and above all else, they are people. And they are going to fuck up 1,000 times over. But the important part is that they learn from it. And if you do not allow them to do so, you only encourage them to be worse. Because I have seen the absolute worst that life has to offer time and time and time again. And I can tell you from experience that the only way things get better is if you let people change. So while I encourage you to take a step back, feel your own feelings, and make your own decisions, I'm also going to encourage you to approach things like this with compassion. Because when it comes to situations where there's no assault, there's no crime being committed, after all said and done, you have to let people be people. And if you're watching this and you're a young adult, you're a teenager, you're a child, then I applaud your willingness to be the change you want to see, but it is not your responsibility to hold adults accountable, especially when those adults are not people you know personally. And I'm proud of you for doing the best you can with what you know, but this isn't your fight. And I know that you personally probably have way too much to deal with already.
Why do I feel like this is like a school counselor speaking to me in the most condescending manner possible? You know how adults just like ignore anything a child will say? Even if the child is saying logical things, they'll be like, no, I'm the adult, I'm right here, I'm right here. It's like, no, shut the f up. I'm also an adult, and I can actually see that you're completely chatting complete utter nonsense. Children can give judgment if they want to give judgment. Children can see something and they can acknowledge that that thing is bad, and it is very clear that that has happened. But also, the argument being made here is incredibly manipulative. This wasn't just a child thing. I have seen grown adults, a lot of adults, turn on Wilbur. And in fact, that audience from 2020 have now become adults and realize, or not just realize, but at the time they also did realize, but they just, collectively agree that, yeah, they don't want to support this individual anymore. And the only reason that he's calling the people who are mad children is because it is a very easy tactic to get people to ignore the actual valid criticism. And of course, this TikTok went down absolutely terribly, and at the time of when it came out, it didn't really do the rounds, but in 2025, it randomly got in the TikTok algorithm, and it caused a lot of people to see it, and a lot of people to comment criticism. For example, this individual here states, I didn't experience it this way, so no one can. Genius thought process, mates. And I think that's a perfect summary of what's going on here with Tyler Catastrophe. Just because you personally had a different experience with something in your own personal situation, that doesn't mean you can cast judgment on somebody who had their own personal situation. I find it very ironic that Tyler loves to do this thing where he claims that we shouldn't judge people and we should allow people to grow and change and become better people. Firstly, why does a person need to grow and change if you believe that they haven't done anything wrong? But secondly, you have just made a 6-minute long TikTok casting judgment on an entire community of individuals and also a victim. If there's anyone who's judgmental in this situation, it's you, and this fake little kind, nice thing that he does is so disgustingly condescending that it genuinely just irritates me. The thing is it didn't end there with the defense of Wilbur Soot. In fact, this was just the beginning, because after that, Tyler then doubled down in another video, claiming that people need to give other individuals the opportunity to change.
Better on an individual level, because at that point it's not about holding people accountable, it's about you getting to be a dick. The video this comment is on is about how I do not think that Wilbur Soot is an abuser, and it took a lot for me to post it. I had to think a lot about how to say what I wanted to say, and I was really worried that it would be taken the wrong way, but so far the comments have been super understanding, and I am so grateful for that. But since posting that video, I've seen so many reasons that I needed to post it in the first place. Because how long are we as people going to sit in this place where we treat every mistake as if it makes us irredeemable? And sure, people should face consequences for their actions, but if those consequences are not put in place as a lesson to be better and learn from those actions in the future, then those aren't consequences, those are punishment. And no one learns from punishment.
I'm very confused because he's just made a 6-minute TikTok about how he thinks that Wilbur isn't an abuser. And now he's saying, well, people should face consequences, but they should also be allowed to grow and change. I don't actually think anyone's saying that Wilbur can't grow and change and hopefully become a better individual. But that doesn't mean people need to miraculously come back to his community and suddenly become a Lovejoy fan again and buy all the merchandise and, oh, let's get him back on the Dream SMP. It's like, no, that's not how it works with forgiveness and change. I think a lot of people out there seem to think that forgiveness is like this thing where immediately everything goes back to being the way it was before, or when you start to make strides to change your life in the better way, everyone around you needs to just forget what you did. That's not how forgiveness and changing works. Unfortunately, even if you've become a better person, changed, people are still going to remember what you did, and that is just a consequence of your own
this baby
actions.
thinks that I can't
It's just
change.
another part of the learning and growing and changing phase. Now, of course, this person isn't Wilbur saying these things, but I think a lot of people out there seem to forget that the biggest part of the growing and changing process is accepting that some people, or a lot of people, may never see you in the same way that they saw you previously. Unfortunately, though, a lot of people can't handle that and get very angry. And sometimes you get third parties like this who get angry for the sake of other individuals like Wilbur.
Day in and day out, you hear, oh, people don't change, people never change, but they do. Every day, everything changes. Change is the closest thing we have to a universal constant. But the most important part of that puzzle is that you have to let people change. You have to acknowledge the ability to change. You have to acknowledge the change in itself. Are they really incapable of changing, or are you just not letting them? Have they really never changed, or are you just not acknowledging that they already have? Because if you're going to call someone out for their behavior, you have to be willing to let them change the behavior. Because if you don't, you may as well just admit to yourself and everyone around you that you're not interested in people being better. You just want to watch more people burn. And I know someone's going to call me a stupid optimist again, but nihilism is a cancer, and all it ever does is ensure that nothing ever gets better. And if you want to see a better world than the one that we have right now, you have to acknowledge and allow people to be better on an individual level. Because at that point, it's not about holding people accountable. It's about you getting to be a...
I mean, Wilbur Soot is out there. He makes music still. He still is relatively popular, and he has a successful music career, even if it is significantly smaller than it once was. So, yeah, I don't really get your point. Wilbur has been allowed to
Are you trying to show off your feet socks?
Does have somewhat, as I mentioned earlier, of a smaller audience, which you clearly are the chief and leader of. But yeah, of course, this response also went down absolutely
Did you see my socks?
with the community. But at the same time, there were some people being understanding. Because some people gave the counter of, people do change from punishment. Operant conditioning demonstrates that positive and negative punishments can work better than positive and negative reinforcements.
They
and
look
yeah,
like
that
toe
is something
socks.
that definitely can be debated. But what can't be debated is this person's obsession with Wilbur Soot. Because these TikToks that I've shown you are very much the beginning of a trend of TikToks that Tyler got into, of where he seemingly comes after people like Shelby, defends Wilbur. It very much did start to go viral.
Visit GoSpaceMermaid's Ko-fi page at
naturally
link.
A lot of people were enraged that this guy was consistently defending somebody who, for the large majority, is considered an abuser. But at this point, in fairness to Tyler, he has built a very successful career on the side of making these Wilbur defenses, and of course that isn't just in relation to speaking about Wilbur Soot. He also became known for making jewelry, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, and it was very clear that he was establishing a bit of a dedicated audience for himself, which, you know, understandably for a lot of people out there, that was pretty crazy, but it does just show, and honestly counters his point a little, that there is always going to be an audience for someone no matter what you do, such as making TikToks like this.
I'm going to say something very important, and then I'm going to follow it with however. And I know the second I say that word, a lot of people are going to tune me out, but I'm asking you so nicely to keep listening.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. Believe victims, believe survivors.
Okay, great. I mean, yeah, I completely agree with...
However.
I know I said I would listen to him, but yeah. It's going to be another TikTok from this guy, basically just saying that you shouldn't listen to victims or something. He's very confused about his beliefs. It very much does seem to be believe victims until it's somebody that I like on the internet.
As a victim myself, as a survivor myself, what we should be saying when we say those words is believe victims, believe survivors first. Because the unfortunate truth is that just because you would never lie about something so important does not mean that no one would. Because blindly believing people like me can still be a bad thing.
Now, what he's saying here is generally quite confusing to me because there have been multiple content creators out
Wish
there
to
that have
donate
had
to
false
Extra
accusations
Life?
levied against
Follow
them,
the link.
and those content
And
creators
thank you.
have come out defending themselves with evidence and actually proving that the things said about them were complete lies, and the entire internet has unilaterally been on their side. I don't know if that was the right word to use there, but has been completely on their side, supporting them and basically exposing the person that tried to expose them. This is something that has happened multiple times on social media, and it very much does reflect the fact that, well, the entire internet isn't just necessarily going to believe anyone needlessly and blindly. No, people are going to listen to receipts. They are going to listen to evidence, and this is a 2-year-old story that certain things have been admitted to, and yet you still seem to act like this is something that is in debate when it really, in regards to the public, is absolutely not a debate.
I know I would never lie about that sort of thing, but I still know people who have admitted to making false allegations, who have bragged about making false allegations. I still have known people who said that they would if they knew that it would benefit them. And every single time I have been assaulted, every single time I have been abused, every single time that I have been in a situation where I needed someone to believe me, a vast majority of the people in my life chose not to. I know how it feels to not be believed.
Okay, so you know what it's like to not be believed, but you're still going to get onto your social media and not believe somebody to the point of where you're going to victim blame them and say that they are weaponizing children to ruin somebody's life. It's a little bit confusing. It is a little confusing, and it says to me that this person doesn't exactly care about victims.
So if someone tells me that they have been through a similar situation to my own, I will always believe them first. But if it comes to a point where I cannot feel comfortable believing them, that is saying a lot. And I definitely do not make that decision lightly, ever. It does not matter how much I like the accused. It does not matter how attractive they are. It does not matter how successful or talented they are. I will always believe the alleged victim first. I loved All Time Low as a kid. I was in Onision forums for years.
Is it a shock that this guy was an Onision kid? Gee, I mean, obviously, a lot of people... I mean, to be honest, Onision's one of those people who I do get confused how people were fans. Like, I know there are some people in my audience that were, and I'm not trying to judge you, but I remember in, like, 2010, the guy was controversial. I remember Repsion was making videos about him years and years before, like, 2018. So I kind of get confused about how anyone can be a fan of that guy, but it really isn't a shock to me that Tyler Catastrophe was an Onision fan. If anything, it basically kind of explains everything in this story. But yeah, let's continue.
And when I heard about things they were doing behind the scenes, it did not matter how much I liked them. I was done. I was 100% on Amber Heard's side until I was given too many reasons not to be. But that is still not a decision that I made lightly. And I know that for every person who takes the time to understand what I'm saying, there's another one that won't. But I know that I personally have to use discernment in order to feel comfortable with the decisions I make. And even if I cannot personally feel comfortable trusting someone at their word, I'm not saying that you shouldn't. My decisions are made up of my experiences, just as yours are made up of yours. And at the end of the day, there are hundreds, if not thousands of victims and survivors that I believe wholeheartedly. And there are genuinely only 3 that I know of that I cannot feel comfortable believing. And if not feeling comfortable believing those 3 and everything they say makes people think that I am a horrible person, there's nothing I can do about that. But if there is one thing I can say, but I will never compromise my own moral compass just to make someone else feel better. Because my moral compass was forged in a fire that I hope no one else has to go through. So please, if you hear nothing else from this video, believe victims, believe survivors first. But please keep in mind that there are people who lie about that sort of thing, and it does irreparable harm to those of us that don't. And personally, I don't want to forgive the people who do. Okay, love you, bye.
So yeah, he makes the claim here that his moral compass was forged in a fire, and honestly, most of the community didn't really understand what he was saying here, mainly due to the fact that, well, this guy's moral compass is clearly all over the place, and it very much seems that in his defense of Wilbur, he is confused about pretty much everything, and most of his points of defense comes from the fact that this guy is absolutely obsessed with Wilbur, and of course this did not go down well with the community, and only made this person's virality just continue, and he was getting more and more known in the community as the guy who was obsessed with Wilbur Soot. And of course, TikToks like this in 2026 started to go more and more viral. It didn't really matter what time Tyler had posted this. It seems that over the last few months, at the time of recording this video, basically every single controversial TikTok Tyler has made has resurfaced and has faced a barrage of criticism. And again, it does beg the question of why is he doing this? Is it because he's in a parasocial relationship with Wilbur? Is it because, you know, he really just likes Wilbur as a person? Or there is another question here. Is he trying to join Lovejoy, the band that Wilbur runs? Now, that might sound a little bit crazy, but as we established in the facts earlier, this person very much loves Lovejoy, and a little TikTok started to go viral in 2026 of where seemingly this person did an audition to be the second vocalist in Lovejoy. And yeah, it's gonna be an experience that me and you are gonna go through together. Let's hear this person's beautiful singing voice.
I have absolutely no idea if one of my favorite bands might want a second vocalist, but I do know I am crazy enough to ask. So hi, Lovejoy. Do you want a second vocalist? My name is Tyler Salona. I'm 26 years old. I live in Texas, but I'm trying to move to England anyway. I'm a massive extrovert. I've been performing since I was 10, and in 2019, I was actually a semi-professional vocalist, but then had to spend almost 5 years getting my voice back after losing it completely because someone hit me with their car. Through the sheer force of audacious determination, I now have my voice back and my vocal stamina. Which basically means that now that I can go back to music, not doing so makes everything else feel unfulfilling and sad. I figured I might as well shoot my shot. And I also play the trumpet, which is probably helpful. Anyway, here's Portrait of a Blank Slate.
Okay, I'm really excited to hear this, Tyler. You've gone through trauma, you know, you've recovered your lungs, you can sing again, the truck didn't cause any permanent damage. Let's give this person a opportunity.
The whole thing. I hope you like it. I mean, you probably like it already, let's be honest. It is your song, but I also hope you like the parts that I'm gonna do. The singing part. You know.
Alright, yeah, get to the point.
This is a long intro for TikTok, but we commit over here.
Well, why are we still here? Just sing. Just sing!
So, listen to it. It's amazing. I love this song. Shit.
I don't need the dancing. I don't need this. There's a lot of things that I could be doing. It's 1 in the morning right now. I could be asleep. I could be playing a video game. I could be watching a movie, reading a book, anything. Eating a burger. Something different, you know? But what I don't want to be doing is watching whatever this is. Sorry, I'm being mean. Let's get to the singing.
Anyway. He told me that much and now he's dead. Told me to kill my indulgences with a sharp blow to the temple. Pick up the phone, call and do everything he says. I could take a plastic camera.
Pause that. I think that truck did permanent damage. I'm not trying to be mean. Like, as an artist, you need to accept criticism. And my criticism is, this does feel like I'm witnessing somebody at a karaoke show after one too many Stellas. And you say you love Britain, you love the English culture. Well, it's clear to me you have had one too many Stellas. You've drunk it. You had a few pints of beer, and now you've gone to karaoke and you're giving your best Lovejoy impression. And look, you know, if I was at karaoke, I wouldn't sing along with you. I'd say, why is that weirdo here? But I would say, I wouldn't say anything, to be honest with you. I'll probably walk out. But, you know, it would be a scenario that I'm not really that, you know, surprised by. But what I would be surprised by is you actually genuinely trying to attempt to join a band with this voice. Like, I'm not trying to be rude. It's just not great.
He can make such a pretty picture. Oh, so happy. Oh, so happy. I'm pretty cool once you get to know me. I feel at some point I broke my mind. I'm always searching the silent type. How do you all make it look so easy? You open your hearts up so quickly it scares me.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There's something about singing when it's not great, and I was genuinely expecting something. We got the whole sub story. We got like, oh, you know, my lungs blew out. I got hit by a truck, and oh, it was really bad. And I'm sure it was awful. I'm not knocking that, but you know, I thought we were gonna get something. You know, it's like when you see like footballers come back from like an ACL injury, and they've took the world by storm again. They're like the best player in the world. And it's like that was kind of what I was expecting. What I got was not that. This obviously it wasn't the best, and it didn't really go down well with the comments either. Somebody said, "Holy shit, this is an original." Lovejoy in the Big 25. This video felt like an hour long, and there were a lot more mean comments that I'm not going to mention. But yes, to answer the question that I had earlier of, is this person trying to obsess over Wilbur because they want to join Lovejoy? I don't exactly think that's the case. There is a lot more of a realistic answer that we'll get to later on. But do I think this audition will actually help them join Lovejoy? No. No, I don't think they're going to be joining Lovejoy anytime soon. But alas, let's continue on with the lore of this superfan. Because with the continuous virality of him being known as the Wilbur Soot stan fan, whatever you want to call Tyler, it definitely was getting to a point of where so many people were seeing this person over the last year of 2025 to 2026. And of course, that led to more and more people seeing the TikToks about Shelby and Wilbur, and it led to more and more criticism, which again prompted Tyler to jumping onto TikTok to defend Wilbur, whilst also levying what, in my opinion, false accusations, ironically enough.
Let's talk Lovejoy, because I got shit to say. My last video is kind of popping off, mostly because people are sending it to each other to laugh at me, which is fine by me. Thank you for the views. But it's me doing a silly little audition in my bathroom for a band that probably doesn't even want a second vocalist, but I'm a bold motherfucker, and embarrassing myself in the right direction is kind of my thing. And full disclosure for people who don't know, the lead singer of that band does have abuse allegations. However, one, the person making those accusations has a history of making false allegations. Do we not remember Parker?
Now this person says, do we not remember Parker here? And that really confuses me, because something that Tyler has stated that we will get into later on is they did discover Wilbur in 2019. And the false rumors of Parker that they're talking about here is something that comes from around 2016 to 2017 when Shelby was dating somebody called Parker. Now I did my best to look into this, and I have heard about this rumor before that Shelby has leveled false accusations against other previous partners, and from what I can see is this actually seems to be a bit of a misinformation campaign to discredit Shelby in her accusations against Wilbur. You see, I found these tweets right here when I searched up about this and was doing research, and basically there were multiple tweets about it, and every single tweet that I could find had no evidence to suggest that any of this was true, and most of the tweets were just denying any of this is real and basically stating that Shelby did not levy any false accusations or any accusations in general against this Parker person. I even found a Wilbur stan, ironically enough, saying that she deleted this accusation out of shame, but then people from the era of 2016 to 2017, from when this supposedly took place, came to the defense of Shelby, stating that this never happened. And again, I'm welcome to being, brought information about this, but from what I can see, there really seems to be no actual history of it. I did my best looking into this, but there really is nothing. So what we have is Tyler, based on my information, is just outright lying about this and using this as a way to discredit Shelby, which again is just flat out disgusting. It's dishonest, and it's just grim victim blaming. Now after this, he does just go through the same things that he's gone through previously that we don't really need to take a look at right now. But yeah, it was clear that even with a wave of new people coming to his page, he was going to double down over this. And of course, it did not go down well for him.
I have built my platform by being authentic, kind, compassionate, and honest with the people who watch me. And regardless of what I may allow people to think about me, I am not naive and I am certainly not stupid. All of my major life decisions are carefully thought out and carefully considered. If there was a single atom in my being that thought Lovejoy was actually made up of horrible people, I would not touch it with a 40-foot pole.
So I'm meant to rely on this person's judgment, despite we've clearly seen that they are willing to defame and lie about somebody in order to pretty much just continuously defend this content creator that they have a bit of a creepy obsession with. Personally, I'm not going to really listen to you. And what's interesting is when people are mentioned who have allegations against them, like Melanie Martinez, Tyler says he absolutely does not support Melanie. But it's like confusing to me because it seems with literally every single accusation out there, this person supports them. But when it comes to Wilbur, that is when the line is drawn. And again, I think it does come down to the fact that this person is obsessed and it is clearly developing or is just outright a crush, which we will get confirmation on later. But this person has gone on to make multiple TikToks about Lovejoy and wanting to join Lovejoy and how they've basically obsessed over this band and wanting to be a writer in the band. And look, based on what I've seen, I don't exactly think this would be a good addition for Lovejoy.
Lovejoy is legitimately the only band that I cannot listen to without wishing I was in the band, which is kind of strange because I'd give anything to be in just about any band. But with most great bands that I love, I just want to be a fly on the wall during the writing process. I just want to like observe, I want to pick their brains, I just want to know how they do it. But every single time I hear a Lovejoy song, I feel like I need to roll up my sleeves and be in it. And I could just wax poetic for literal hours about why I feel that way. But I think the main thing is that every song feels like every person put an equal amount of effort. Like with a lot of bands or musicians, you can tell what they think is most important to a song. Like you can totally tell when one person does a bulk of the writing, because usually things get thrown to the wayside. A song that's written by a guitarist is probably going to slack on lyrics and such. Songs written by a lyricist is probably going to let one of the instruments down. But with Lovejoy, you can tell that every single person is writing the parts they want to play, and they seem like they're all having equal amounts of fun with the actual songs, which I like. And I feel like the only part of every song that feels less important than everything else is like the vocal melodies. And absolutely zero hate to Will Gold. He's very good at what he does, and I love listening to him sing and talk and everything else. But every time I hear a Lovejoy song, I just want to...
This guy's still
you know,
going.
I just want to
How
sprinkle,
many
sprinkle some good stuff
TikToks
in
did
there,
he
'cause
make
vocal
about
melodies
it?
are my thing. I can't sing a song without changing it a little bit most of the time.
I don't know.
Interesting and fun to sing. Now, every time I hear a Lovejoy song, I just want to take it, run it through my brain, and then rinse it off like I'm developing film. Not to like seriously change anything, because again, it's all great music. Just to give it that little extra bit of sparkle that I feel like some of them are missing.
The audacity of this person is genuinely crazy. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like
There's a
I've
part
listened to a few
two.
Lovejoy songs before everything happened, and I genuinely thought the music was like pretty decent. And it is hilarious to see somebody with really no musical history in terms of actually producing anything of worth come on here being like, I'm gonna fix everything. I'm gonna add that little bit of sparkle. It's like, bro, we've heard your music, and like, regardless of like everything we've spoken about today, I don't think this guy's going to be adding anything significant to the band if he ever did join it. But also, this is a big thing that a lot of people have been speaking about in regards to Tyler. He's a very egotistical person. He's definitely very self-centered, very self-obsessed. And look, I'm very much for like bigging yourself up and stuff. But with this person, I think it is a little bit more funny considering their obsession with Wilbur Soot. I do just think it somehow just amplifies it. You know, kind of how like any other content creator who gets credited, like Onision, who we mentioned earlier. Like, if Onision did something where he was like, I'm going to become a successful artist, I'd laugh at him. I'd laugh at him because that's funny to me because it's Onision. And I think this is funny because this is Tyler and we've seen what we've seen. But also, another thing to point out here that you just saw in that TikTok is how Tyler uses Wilbur's name as Will Gold.
And absolutely zero hate to Will Gold.
He uses his official government name, and this is something that has drawn a lot of, not criticism, but more confusion from a lot of people out there, and a lot of people have basically speculated that he says this to kind of make it look like he actually knows Wilbur. And from researching this video, I've started to call Wilbur Will. I don't know him like that. I'm not going to call him Will. I want to call him Wilbur. But the amount of time Tyler Catastrophe, when speaking about Wilbur, says Will Gold, the amount of times he says it is genuinely crazy. And I do think it comes down to the fact that he wants to almost have this personal seeming connection with Wilbur. But obviously, it does just come off as a little bit odd. Now, in terms of actually, meeting Wilbur and meeting Lovejoy, this is actually something that did happen in November 2025 after Tyler actually managed to get hold of a VIP ticket for Lovejoy because there was also 2,000 other tickets available.
So I met Lovejoy last night.
But yeah, Tyler goes on to claim that apparently Lovejoy instantly recognized him, and I don't exactly think that's a shock. They just need to turn their head to the board of do not let in, stalker, and they'd see his face.
So I met Lovejoy last night. Mark recognized me and my roommate, which was fun. Love that guy.
Also, sorry about the slide whistles, Mark. They'll be silly, it'll be fine.
But there were also several other people from TikTok who recognized me, which is always fun. Love it when that happens. It's always at shows, and I love that for me. But they know about the audition video. They didn't ask me to join the band, but it's fine. They seem to be doing pretty okay without me, at least. Also, side note, the number of people who took that I'm so serious
There's a
as
part
I'm
2
so
to all this
serious,
madness?
wild
Yeah.
to me. Do you not hear my voice? Of course I didn't think they were gonna actually want me to join the band. I was bored and views were low. The world was my oyster.
How long is this video
you want to be a
then?
writer, you want to have some sparkle, some cheer. You were being serious. This is like when somebody says something and they get proven wrong, or just
2 hour
dismiss
12
it as an
and we're at
argument, and then they just go on to
1:36.
claim it was bait. It was rage bait. No, you clearly really want to join this group. Don't lie to me.
Anyway, but I mentioned that video paid my electric bill. Generally the most money I've ever made
That's
from a TikTok.
crazy.
And Mark's response was, damn, maybe I should audition for Lovejoy. But because Will's been more mobile on stage this tour, just like moving and bouncing and twirling around, I gave him one of those straps that like connects to the back of your head so your glasses don't fall off. Like, these might be helpful, but it will not hurt my feelings if they're not. But the look on this man's face when he had to tell me that he actually broke his glasses, which I'm sorry I wasn't there several days before. This is totally on me. I'm so sorry. But Andy explained how they worked, and I usually wear contacts to shows, as I was last night. And Will was like, oh, you do shows. And there was a brief half second of crippling sadness because, no, not anymore. Because of the whole getting hit by a car thing. Soon, someday, I will not rest until I'm a musician again. But I mentioned my titanium ribs, and Mark's response was, well, at least next time, you'll bounce right off. I mean, the goal is that there won't be a next time, but you never know. Thank you, Mark. And at this point in my life, I've seen hundreds of bands live. I'm friends with a lot of bands. I've met a lot of bands. And at
The
some
only
point, you
video
realize
I've
there are
watched
some
that
things
was
that you
over
really
2
just
hours
can't
was
fake.
Farmer Guy's
And Lovejoy is one
plagiarism
of those
video.
bands that I
And I
genuinely
skipped
have
through some of
no
it because he
issue
spent
standing by.
almost an
And
hour of that
obviously, I've
video
already
on
made
one
plenty of
guy
my
and I got
opinions known
tired
at
of
this
it.
point. But I work really hard to not say shit I don't mean, especially publicly.
He could have
on the internet,
exposed so
and
many
there will
more
be no
plagiarists.
retractions today. So here, have a picture. Also, Will is wonderful at selfies. Thank you for this. I always feel a little weird letting other people take the photo because I'm so used to specific angles of my face. Gee, I wonder why. But this is a good one. I like it. Anyway, this is your sign. Buy the tickets. It'll be great. Okay, love you, bye.
So yeah, it very much was a positive interaction, and look, I'm not going to really say anything negative about that. Did these things actually take place, or were they actually just happening in his mind? I guess we'll never know. But yes, apparently he did actually finally get to meet Lovejoy, and it was a lovely, positive experience, and they even recognized him. Probably because, again, they saw him on the Wanted poster. But alas, they saw him and they recognized him, apparently, and it was a really, really...
Yeah, I would not be surprised if, like, anybody who is...
After uploading the video, he made another video where he goes.
People send them the video and is like, bro, look at this.
He accidentally called them adorable, and he regretted it because you shouldn't flirt with somebody who's working. And obviously, he doesn't name the person in this TikTok, but some people were wondering, who is this about?
I accidentally called this man adorable, and I nearly bit off my tongue. Because I've been crushing on this guy for clearly too fucking long. And I used to be an attractive woman, alright? Flirting with men, not hard. And here I am, standing right in front of him, channeling See You Again by Hannah fucking Montana. Looking everywhere but at him because he's working and I wear my heart on my fucking face. And I think I'm doing okay. I'm not flirting. I'm trying real hard. Because you don't flirt with people when they're working. They can't comfortably tell you to fuck off. That's not okay. He could have. I would have let him, but he doesn't know that. And he makes one tiny little silly mistake, hits the wrong button, it's fine. And he says something along the lines of, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm stupid. And what comes out of my fucking mouth? You're adorable. It's fine. Somebody put me down. Because listen, I can make a fool of myself. I can embarrass myself, no problem. I make videos on the internet for a living. It's fine, no one cares. But if I had made this man uncomfortable, I'm jumping. All right, I'm done. Take me out. That's it. And this happened like a week ago. I've been thinking about this for days. Who allowed this? I am 26 years old. Why is having a crush right now so embarrassing? Never in my life have I been so verbally lost in front of a guy. Clearly there is no coming back from this. I'll be thinking about this forever, probably. I would say pray for me, but I think we all know I'm a lost cause at this point. Okay, love you, bye. This man looked at me like he wanted me to look at him, and oh no.
So yeah, obviously, a lot of people instantly saw this in February 2026 and were thinking to themselves, I don't even need to say who was he talking about. I think it was very clear that this person had finally begun to express the reality behind everything. Because we've been wondering, why would somebody keep on doing this? Even if they truly do believe the things that they're saying, they're just getting lambasted on social media every single day. What's the benefit? Just hold your beliefs and leave and do something else. Is it because they want to join Lovejoy? Well, we've seen them claim that actually they believe that they won't join Lovejoy. So, well, the real reason that this person is clearly doing all of this is because, I've said it briefly before, they have a crush on Wilbur Soot. And yeah, that was only confirmed later on in February 2026 when they admit to having a crush on Wilbur, and that crush has lasted since 2019.
I have had a crush on Will Gold since 2019 when I heard him laugh in the background of someone else's video and it felt like life itself leaned in to listen. Which is really inconvenient for me because I am very much a one soul at a time kind of person, so once I develop a crush, virtually no one else stands a chance ever. And at the time, I had just broken off a terrible engagement to a guy who didn't even fucking like me. And since then, I have only briefly dated one other person who was wonderful, but it didn't work out. And so in all of that time, regardless of how many people have tried and been interested in me, I have not been able to find the interest for any single one of them. Because I have a fucking crush on a guy I have interacted with once. And I don't even officially know his sexuality.
I don't know if anyone else agrees with me, but I think this is a really weird thing to say. I think it is very weird to start even just briefly speaking about the sexuality of a person who you have a crush on. Having a crush on a celebrity is a pretty normal thing. Like, I think a lot of us
Yeah, it's
have
pretty
had,
fucking
minor
common.
crushes here and now, fancied somebody because you thought, they're attractive on TV or something like that. But I feel like instantaneously, this is something very different to just a simple crush. He's basically said here that he could not get crushes on other people in his real life because he had now developed this crush for Wilbur Soot, and that has lasted now for 7 years. That is genuinely concerning, and the way he speaks about it and how he seemingly can't develop new relationships because of it is absolutely
That's kind of
wild,
sad.
but it does answer a lot of questions that I had. Why is he willing to risk everything in order to victim blame Shelby? Well, it's because he has a crush, a really, really weird and obsessive crush.
That's a whole other thing. And I have tried so hard to move on from this, to let it go.
Have
because
you?
I want so badly for it not to cross over into parasocial territory.
It crossed over into parasocial
too late.
territory a very long, like centuries ago, millennia ago. It crossed over into that territory. This is no longer a parasocial relationship. This is a parasocial dictatorship. You are obsessed with this individual. You have done everything you can to slander another individual to the point of actually spreading out lies about other false accusations, and you've dedicated your entire profile to this man for an incredibly long period of time from when you were around
it's concerning as
21 years
well,
old,
but
and
it's
you're now
also incredibly sad
27.
he's gotten
Do
so
you
obsessed
not
with someone
realize
he doesn't
this
even
is
know and can't
this is
even
not
see
a
interest in
minor
anyone he
parasocial
knows
thing.
in person.
This is as parasocial as
Right?
it gets.
But in like the 7 minutes
disbelief
that we spoke to
XD.
each other, one, every time we made eye contact, I thought my heart was gonna burst out of my chest and fly away.
Also the
Two,
delusion
I
that
was
he
so
doesn't even think
nervous
he's
that my head
parasocial.
just shut off and my mouth had a mind of its own. And anyone who knows me and has ever met me knows that I don't get nervous about people. What the hell was that? 3, he somehow managed to make me want to write music again, something I have not done since my last band broke up in 2019 and I got hit by a car and couldn't sing anymore. And I can sing again now. It took several years, but I got it back because I'm amazing. But how dare you pull my spark back out from underneath the ashes I spent years burying it under because it hurt too much to think about. In like 2 sentences. It's rude. And 4, he failed to take a selfie with me because he was operating on like iPhone settings and I have an Android, and I accidentally called him adorable and immediately wanted to swallow my f***ing tongue. Because you don't flirt with people when they're working. That's rude. I paid to
Visit
I
GoSpaceMermaid's
feel like I'm
Ko-fi
taking
page
crazy
at
pills.
link.
And my point is, it's a whole thing.
Yeah, this is really weird, and also I feel like the reason Wilbur didn't take the photo wasn't because phones were messing up. Anyone knows how to use an Android or an iPhone. There's a camera app with a camera logo. You click, you press the button. I feel like the reason that he didn't take a selfie with this person is either Wilbur did not want to take a photo of this person, or this didn't even happen. Now, obviously, we're never going to know unless Wilbur gives his account of it. Realistically, I'm not actually that interested in knowing, but I think it's very
I
clear
don't
that
care
this
enough
person
to
is
dig further.
obsessed to a disturbing extent. To have your heartbeat going at the rate he said it was over somebody he had just met, somebody he had never spoken to up until that point, is genuinely very, very weird, especially considering this person is 27 years old. I'm not saying you can't have crushes at 27 or fancy celebrities at 27, but if you're genuinely getting like heart palpitations at seeing a celebrity who you've never spoken to, that's as concerning as it can get. And it only continues from this
I
point.
just
He
realized I shared that
continuously
video of
confirms
people
to me
laughing at Dream
why
in the
he has
completely
done
wrong
everything
Discord
that he has
thinking it was
done,
your
and
memes
it's
channel.
because he is in a parasocial relationship with Wilbur.
Pills, and my point is, it's a whole thing that I would like to no longer have to deal with.
That was hours
and
ago.
all of this is made worse because
No,
I
that's
have been
that's
recognized at
hilarious.
Every single concert I've been to
27 is too old for crushes.
Too old to have crushes on celebrities and be acting like this. Like, this is teenager behavior.
Rug and move on with my life. There's always that little thing in the back of my head saying, "There's a non-zero chance."
K-Cat
Oh my
scared.
god. So basically, the way I see it, I
Wish to
finally
donate
say,
to Extra
I make
Life?
this video,
Follow
I
the
say
link.
it all out loud
And
to
thank
the
you.
ether that is the internet. Worst case scenario,
Oh, okay.
he sees it, he says, hey, not for me. I move on with my life, it's fine. I'm an adult, who cares? I'll take a no over uncertainty any day of the week. Neutral option, nothing
27
happens.
isn't too old for crushes.
Oh, well, I guess.
I got one
Best
like
case
last week and I'm
scenario-
32.
Look, I have a new celebrity crush, like, every month.
Doing any day ever for the rest of my life. If he was like, hey, do you want to get dinner or something? I'd say yes. Obviously, I'm delusional. It's fine. But at this
Lamau,
point,
she
I'm
even
just
reads
so
the
over
stream
not
elements
doing
thing.
anything about
I can't
the
figure out
things
how to get her to
you know?
not do it.
What's up with that?
I had
No
one
one
and I'm
gets anywhere
38.
that way. So, f it. I've said it out loud. What else?
Oh,
is
we're
there to
all
say when I'm
old.
DM on it? Is it Friday? I think it's Friday. Anyway. It is what it is, I guess. Okay, love you, bye.
I think the most concerning thing about all of this
Wait,
is
you're
what
talking
it really
celebrities.
indicates to me is this guy doesn't actually have real interest in
Whoops.
Lovejoy. He
I'm
only
married,
has
I don't really
interest
get
in
crushes on
making
real life
be
people
with
anymore.
Wilbur. He wants to be that person's partner. He wants to engage in a relationship with that person. He doesn't know this person, and he is speaking about this person in this bizarre way. And some could say, well, other
Joanna,
people do that with other
sauropod
celebrities,
emoji,
and yeah,
T-Rex
I think
emoji,
it's weird. I think
dragon
it is
emoji,
weird when there is a
sauropod
content
emoji.
creator and you are speaking about them in that way. You're not celebrating the content that they make, and even if you were, the only reason you're doing that, you have just shown us, is because you want to
I do 'cause I'm
actually
alone and
be
sad
with
Gus
that
Pack one, hee
person.
hee.
Obviously, a crush is very different to what this person is saying. They have dedicated their life to this individual, put relationships on hold because they
Way to go,
want
TTS
to be
people, Diddy.
with this person who they have met for 7 minutes
XD.
at a show that they paid to go to with a VIP ticket. It's weird, and I'm sorry if that seems demeaning or derogatory.
I meant to joke we're
but it
dinosaurs.
is weird, and if I had a fan or a stan who was like that, I would pull them aside on social media. I would not go anywhere near them in real life and say, hey, that is very, very concerning. Please detach yourself from me. I don't want this parasocial connection. And look, I'm not saying anyone's got a crush on me. I don't think that's physically possible. I'm doing the self-deprecation thing there. I'm sure someone does, maybe. But just don't make it parasocial, all right? Just don't do it. But no, jokes aside, obviously, this is just very, 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 very weird. And another thing a lot of people were pointing out in the comment section is, why does this person keep on referring to him as Will Gold? And it's what I mentioned earlier of, I think they're desperate to kind of pretend that they actually know the individual. It's almost like they're trying to force it into reality, you know, fake it until you make it. That's the vibe I get from this person. They're seemingly trying to act like they now know Wilbur because they paid for a VIP ticket. But it's like, no, anyone on planet Earth could have met Wilbur.
This is like, could you imagine? I paid for a VIP ticket to meet the girls of
You're not
Dreamcatcher.
special, you're not unique in this situation. You are just a hyper-obsessed fan. But what's crazy is after this, he got a lot of criticism for this. Obviously, a lot of people were calling him weird, creepy, and as you can imagine, he didn't retract his statements. He simply doubled down.
I do know there's a difference between embarrassing and morally wrong, right? They're not the same thing.
because, oh my god, it is so not that serious. Is it embarrassing to publicly admit that you have a crush on someone? Yes.
Yeah.
Is it also embarrassing to admit the person you have a crush on has a larger following than you do? Yeah, sure. But having a crush and feeling emotions about a person you don't know is not inherently wrong. I'm not out here writing self-insert fanfiction or building a shrine to our love in my fucking closet.
I actually think it is kind of weird to have not a crush, as I said earlier. I think it's fine to have a crush, but I think it is weird to do it in the extent that this person is doing. Like, we know that this person is paying for VIP tickets to go to a show because he's hoping that they're going to establish some form of relations with that person. And look, I'm not stupid. I know a lot of people have done that with celebrities in the past and influencers in the past. They're hoping that maybe there'll be a chance. But I definitely think it is concerning that there are people out there that have just dedicated their entire lives to people to do it, you know? That's what this person is doing. As I said, and as they said, they've put off relationships because of their obsession and crush. At what point, as I said, is that not a crush and just an outright obsession?
I said that I had a crush on a guy who I do not know.
Wish
and that
to
we met
donate
one
to Extra
time, made eye
Life?
contact, and it
Follow
gave me
the link.
butterflies. I said
And
it in a
thank
way that
you.
wasn't strictly literal because I'm an artist and a poet, and I like to say the pretty words. And y'all are out here acting like I trained an AI chatbot to talk like him. And for the record, we are strictly against AI in this house, just so you know. But are y'all really so online that you forgot that being human is allowed? Yes, he's successful, and there are other people who want him, and he has a larger following than me, and I've had a crush on him for more than a couple years. But he is just a guy. He is just a guy. And yes, having a crush on him makes it hard for me to have a crush on literally anyone else, because he is proof that all the qualities I want in a partner exist as one coherent person.
Now, to claim that this person has all the
You
qualities in
don't
life that
know
you
him.
need or want in a partner is genuinely crazy, because you don't know this person. You've met them for 7 minutes. You cannot understand the entire qualities of a human being that you've just seen on the internet via social media content. You watching this right now, the viewer, you do not know me personally. You do not know every single quality or negative thing about me. You only know me for what I want you to know. I put my social media posts up. I post 9,000 photos a day of my dog on my Instagram story. I never follow me if you really want to. And yeah, that's what people know me for. But if you said to me, oh, I know you for every single quality that I see in a man or want in a man, I'd say you're fucking crazy, because you don't know me. You've not experienced my life or been with me or as a friend throughout the days of the days of the week. We've not hung out. So how would you know about me? You only know about Wilbur, Tyler, because of his social media posts,
Question.
which are the best possible versions of himself that he wants you to
Answer.
see. I think it's very, very weird that this person has admitted again that they've put off relationships and crushes on other people because they think that they know this person because of what they've posted on the internet. That is genuinely insane.
And why the fuck would I want to settle for someone who doesn't have those qualities when I know that those qualities exist? But I'm not out here saying that he's the only person who's allowed to date me. He's the only one who's allowed to try, and if I just wait long enough, he'll fall in love. No. If he asked me out, I would say
Do you think
yes.
Joey King kind of looks
That is
like she could be
all I
Selena
said.
Gomez's
Having a
daughter,
crush
but
might
only
be
in the kissing
embarrassing,
booth when
but
she was
It is
younger?
not weird. It is not wrong. It is not stripping someone of their rights.
I don't know who
It
that
is
is.
looking at a person and saying, hey, I really like that person. It would be cool if they liked me too. And that is all it is. It's fine. This is disgustingly parasocial. Do you know what parasocial means?
I don't think you do.
Because having a crush on someone is not inherently parasocial. Convincing myself that he also has a crush on me and that he wants to marry me, that would be parasocial. Because I don't know the guy.
Yes, and that's why this is parasocial. You don't know the guy, and you've said to us that you've put off relationships. That is the very definition of what parasocial is. A parasocial relationship is a one-sided bond where a person invests emotional energy, time, and interest into a media figure, such as a celebrity, influencer, or fictional character who is unaware of their existence.
She's an
That is
actress.
exactly
My friend
what
and I
you have
watched
done.
the kissing
You've
booth
told
last
us
night, and the
that
whole
you know
time I
about
was
all of the
thinking she was
qualities of this
related to
person,
Selena
and
Gomez
that is why you
somehow.
cannot date any other person.
Is she the
because
one
they
who was
do
in
not
the
have qualities
Uglies?
that Wilbur has? That you know Wilbur apparently because you seem to think that you know all of their qualities. That is emotional investment.
That movie is hot garbage.
You
Don't
do
watch
not
it.
know the very definition of parasocial, but as you're going to see, this person refuses to admit that.
Convincing myself that he also has a crush on me and that he wants
Yes,
to
she
marry
was in
me,
Uglies.
that would be parasocial. Because I don't
Okay, I think
And that's not what I said.
She's
But
also
the thing that really gets me is
she's
that
in
everything I said in that video.
she's in a
I've
movie
said
with Selena
several
Gomez.
times in other videos. I just didn't.
Selena
put a
Gomez
name
is like
to
her
it.
sister.
And the second I put a name to it, y'all start acting like I'm an obsessed stalker who knows everything about him and is following him around the town.
She is?
Yeah. It's like Ramona
Oh
or
my
something.
God. I just have to keep reminding myself that so much of the internet is teenagers who don't know anything of the outside world other than like their school, their house, and their little sphere of the internet. And like, I get it. There's nothing wrong with that. We've all been there. But oh my God, y'all are frustrating.
Again, bringing up the idea that teenagers can't understand anything. Hey, I actually think teenagers can understand that what you're doing is incredibly weird. And if I was 15 years old and saw you on social media, I'd probably comment, hey man, you're a little bit odd. You're a little bit weird. And hey, as a 28-year-old man, 29. As a 29-year-old man.
Wish to donate to Extra Life?
I can say that
Follow
you
the
are
link.
an odd,
and
an
thank
odd
you.
fella. You're genuinely concerning and weird, and I think you need to detach yourself from social media. Please just realize this is not appropriate. What you are doing here is genuinely odd, and I think if Wilbur saw it, even he would think to himself, hey, I think this is a little bit uncomfortable. So bringing up teenagers and children as a way to once again push off criticism is hilarious because you have a grown-ass man right now saying to you, buddy, this is weird. This is odd behavior, and you are in a parasocial relationship right now.
Just scroll. Just move on with your lives. And just before I end this
To me, they look
I would like
related.
the record to show that not only do
can
I
see
have
it.
more followers now than he did when I first found his content, but also I know who I am. And I know I can pull. And thinking to myself, hey, I bet if this guy knew me, he'd probably like me back. If there's a chance. Is also not parasocial. It's just thinking. I am going to eat this lamp. Y'all. Stop it! Oh my God! I will be
You know
27
who my
in a
celebrity
month,
crush was
and
when I
pay
was
my
young.
own bills,
Brandy
and I live in my
song.
own apartment, and at least a third of my job is
Emma
making
Watson.
videos on the internet and embarrassing myself for fun. I know the difference between right or wrong.
I don't think
and
I
know where to
realized it was
stop
a
before the
crush.
bit
I thought I
becomes
just
weird.
wanted to be
Okay,
her.
love you, bye.
Now, I love that he at the end there says that he knows when to stop the bit when it's weird, but you've told us multiple times now that you've not pursued relationships and crushes because you seem to think that you know an individual that you've met for 7 minutes because you bought a VIP ticket. I really actually want to know what he means by getting too weird because I'm genuinely concerned about what that could actually entail. And again, this TikTok just really pushed Tyler into pretty much everyone's algorithm. Like, I had seen this TikTok before I even started making this video, and I was wondering, who is this person? And without any of the context, I thought to myself, yeah, I want to steer clear from this person. Now, maybe they've actually seen my videos because they mention Onision, and you know, if they're a detractor on Onision now, maybe they watched a bunch of anti-Onision videos, and I was very much a part of that back in the day, and I'm actually working on another Onision video right now, so maybe they've seen me, and maybe they are watching this video, and I will say, buddy, you need to stop doing this. Like, it is weird, it is wrong. I know I keep on repeating myself. We will move on from this in a second, but I think it's fair to say it's not just children that find this creepy. It's
Emma Watson is pretty,
everybody.
but I
There's a
can't see her
reason
as
that there's a
older than
video out
12
there
after
right now
watching Harry
with a
Potter so
million
often.
views about
So
a
I don't
Wilbur
really
Soot
find her
stand in
attractive.
2026.
Oh,
But what's
I
interesting is
follow her
only
Instagram.
recently Tyler has actually
I also
made
had a
the
crush on
claim
her
that
brother. They look
actually
exactly alike,
a lot of
so
the
that's
things
where
that
I'm
he
like,
said in regards to Wilbur has just been exaggerated for content purposes.
Been following me for a while, chances are you actually know who I am and you don't need to hear this. But for the new people, I have posted thousands of videos over the past, 7 years? About myself, about my work, about the things that I believe in. And sometimes that means saying shit that other people disagree with. And right now, Twitter wants you absolutely obsessed with misinterpreting less than 10 of them. And the thing about trying to tell people who someone is that doesn't really hold up when that person has been showing you who they are for 7 years. And all of those people who want to see you frothing at the mouth, sending hate comments and death threats, do not know who I am. and they certainly haven't seen enough of me to know. I put beads on a string for a living and I talk to my phone, and I have never been anything but kind, respectful, and compassionate.
I mean, you openly lied about Shelby spreading false allegations about another previous partner, so no, you haven't been compassionate, and in fact, you've been victim blaming your entire career based around defending this guy that you've got a crush on and obsess over. So no, excuse me if I don't believe your claim of being a compassionate and lovely human being.
A little bit sassy now and then, but who isn't? Look at any of my other videos, look at how I interact with people in the comments, because if there's one thing staying completely consistent, it's that I'm not horrible. You can disagree with me, you can not like me, you can believe whatever you want to believe about me, but I will not believe it for you. I stand by what I said because I know I'm coming from a place of integrity and experience. The only person I'm obsessed with is me because I'm amazing. And sitting here expecting me to bend, to pretend to be someone I'm not just so that you can justify the way you're treating me, is simply not how I do things. So whether you're here about a video about a crush that I exaggerated for entertainment purposes, or from a 2-year-old video where I encourage people to think for themselves and consider that there's a lot of information they don't know.
So yeah, he claims that he exaggerated things for entertainment purposes, and also he goes on to the thing about Shelby there. And honestly, I think this is absolutely hilarious. And I think that it is very clear that at this point of time, things were starting to get to Tyler. It's clear that he very much was getting frustrated, that he was getting a barrage of criticism, mainly due to the fact that he had been saying a lot of horrible things about Shelby, and his continuous defense of Wilbur was also revealing that yes, this all comes from the fact that he has a crush on this individual. It is very interesting that out of everyone else, out of all the other influencers in the world that he doesn't have a crush on, he seems to, as we saw with Millie and Martinez, be against them. But when it comes to the person that he has a crush on, he is going to go all out to make a defense. And it all does culminate in this TikTok right here, where once again, he addresses the fact that yes, he has a crush on Wilbur, whilst also responding to criticism. And at the time of recording this video of, April the 15th, 2026, it seems that he hasn't actually made a follow-up TikTok since, and of course he will eventually do that, he'll eventually post more, but this is basically meant to be the ending of this story. There are plenty of other things that I could get into, but I think we should kind of wrap it up and come to an ending with this person talking about their crush once again, because it's the primary reason that he has done everything that we've gone through today.
I said I have a crush on a guy in a band who I do not know and have met once. And because I was not strictly literal in a video that was for entertainment, I have somehow become the target of a weeks-long ridiculous smear campaign that frankly I don't want to understand. And while part of me knows that it's probably smart to just hope it dies out, it just keeps getting worse, so I'm gonna say some shit. I am not the one stalking comment sections hoping to see someone I do not know. You are. I am not the one making fake accounts to stalk someone I do not know. You are. I am not the one making money off of lying and talking about someone I do not know. You are.
I mean, you literally are. You've bragged in this video about making money from TikToks before, and you would have made videos talking about Shelby in the way that you did. We've seen that you've spread lies and misinformation. So, sorry, but actually you have engaged in that activity that you're accusing other individuals of.
Bored and views were low. The world was my oyster. Anyway. But I mentioned that video paid my electric bill. Generally the most money I've ever made from a TikTok.
And it is hilarious because the rest of this TikTok is just basically him crying and whining and saying everything that's being said about him is a smear campaign. But it's like, no, everything being said about you comes from your own TikToks. That's what I find very confusing when influencers say this sort of stuff in their responses. It's like, bro, we're just reacting to your words. 90% of this video that I'm doing right now has been me playing your TikToks in full and then reacting to it.
You are. I am not the one making fake accounts to stalk someone I do not know. You are. I am not the one making money off of lying and talking about someone I do not know. You are. I am not the one writing fan fiction and making edits and drawing fan art and using AI to make slop of people I don't know kissing. You are. I'm not the one pretending to be related to someone just to spread lies. You are. I am not the one wishing death and torture and worse on someone I do not know just because they said they had a crush. You are. And I am most certainly not the one using AI.
I can't fathom
to
people
try
who
and
can
convince
literally see
people on the
themselves
internet
on
that
video
someone I have
saying
never
something
interacted
and
with
being
is a
like, no, I didn't say that. I don't
That's
know what you're
100%
talking
on
about.
you. I said that I thought a guy was hot and funny and interesting in a video where I was not strictly literal. And then I said that because I am confident and like myself, that maybe he would like me if he gave me a chance, if he was interested in men. Because again, I don't know his sexuality. I do not care where he lives. I do not care who he's seeing. I do not care what he does for fun in his free time because it has no effect on my life. I have a physical type. He happens to be that type. I have very high standards. I do not want someone who does not meet that standard. That is all I said. And right now, the only reason most of my videos are still up is because I do not want to give people more room to lie. Clearly, all of those videos have missed such a large mark. I don't know how we got here. I don't want to know. But at this point, I have spent my entire life overcoming things that most people would never even have to imagine. And I spent a ridiculously long time being just the scapegoat for everyone around me. So I know that there are people who have no interest in the truth, no matter how big it is. And I know that there are people who will post anything that gets views. Consequences be damned. I actually left the creator program months ago because I didn't like the incentive it gave to like trigger people and start rage bait, and it's stupid. I don't like it. So really the only thing I have to say to the people who are using my name to get views and make money in a way that is not true and is very deceptive, I hope you plan to donate every single cent that you have made off of misrepresenting my character and using my name for views. To the ACLU, to Planned Parenthood, to the people of Palestine or Lebanon or the Congo or Sudan, to Indigenous or Black Lives Matter charities. You have a lot of options because frankly, every other problem on Earth right now is bigger and more important than a guy who has a crush on another guy. And while it would be nice to have a little more money, because I have goals of my own to work towards, I want absolutely nothing to do with any of that money. And otherwise, I hope you end up regretting every single cent you have made off of misrepresenting me. Because I am a good person. I am kind, and I do not deserve any of this. I believe that other people are mostly good. I believe that people can change when they have motivation to do so. And I hope that you all learn from this in the future because
Literally the
really
Patrick and
nowhere else
Manta
to
Ray
go.
guy scene where
I
he
do
tries
not
to
like
give him
being
his own
angry.
wallet.
And I am angry that I have been pushed to
And
being
is like,
angry.
that's not
but
my
I am
wallet.
Angry. I'm angry for a lot of reasons. Angry to the point of tears because I have so many worse problems than this, and somehow
this is Patrick.
we are still here. My birthday is this month, and as of that day, I will have been in pain for 7.5 years. Even in my dreams, I am in pain because someone hit me with their car at around 50 miles an hour, and I decided to keep living after it. I will be in pain for the rest of my life, and I have fought like hell to build a life that is worthy of that pain and worth going through it. And with everything else that I have chosen to survive, I don't think any of you deserve to make me regret that decision. So if you are only here hoping to see me crash and burn, go f*** yourself. And if you're here trying to see if what you've heard is true, it's not. You can look at everything I've said. I've left it all up. I stand by what I've said. Because even the worst thing they could find on me was me saying that they should think and consider carefully before allowing themselves to be used as an internet attack dog on behalf of people they do not know, because there will always be information you do not know.
Devil's advocate, he's not wrong.
1000%. Not sorry. And to Will Gold, on the off chance that you see this, personally, kind of hope you haven't seen any of it, but to you, I am sorry, because clearly this has gone so fucking far, and I didn't intend any of it. This whole thing sucks, and I don't like it. But other than that, I have no other apologies. Because I have nothing to apologize for. So yeah, that's where we are now. I will continue working towards my goals. I will continue focusing on my business and the things that I love. And other than that, Who fucking cares? Who fucking cares? Oh my, why does this matter to you?
Now, I didn't really feel like interjecting in every single point in that response there, because I feel like this response here is basically a culmination of everything that we've gone through today. His interactions with how he handled the Shelby situation, his crush on Wilbur, in general, his social media career and how people are reacting to it. And overall, this response is genuinely quite bad. And it again just comes down to the fact that he is not willing to take any responsibility whatsoever. And is it really a shock given everything that we've gone through today? And yeah, I feel like this guy is just going to continuously make more content, obsessing over the fact that he loves Wilbur Soot. Well, maybe not loves, actually no, he does love Wilbur Soot. Who are we kidding here? But he definitely has a very concerning connection with Wilbur Soot, and I don't really think that's going to end anytime soon. To kind of wrap things up and conclude everything that we're talking about today, I feel like the moral of the story is it's fine to really enjoy a content creator, a celebrity, a fandom, being a part of that group of fans, and, you know, in some cases being considered a stan. I actually believe stans can be a great thing, and I think it can be a really fun thing, and I don't really think it's fair to kind of group every fan and stan up with people like Tyler Catastrophe. But I do think unhealthy obsessions can lead to
he is the
situations
true
like this, where
Eminem
you
definition
have somebody who
of
is
a stan,
basically ruining their
kind
own
of.
life by
Not as
actually
intense,
pursuing
but
relationships because they have a crush on somebody that they've only met for 7 minutes at a VIP meet and greet. This story is very strange, and there is a lot more to it that I have not really gone through. This video is meant to just serve as a who is this person, why are people mad, and yeah, I think we've pretty much answered both of those questions. So thank you very much for coming along. Please let me know your thoughts down below. I would genuinely really like to know what you guys have to say about all of this. And yeah, please subscribe. Did I say please subscribe already? I'm quite tired. It's like 2 in the morning now. Thank you for watching. Please follow my Instagram at iNabba. Subscribe to my podcast, which is all about video games, films, and TV if you really want to.
what is the second episode, though?
Please subscribe to it. It's the Coffee Club. Oh, I don't want to do this, but I'm gonna have to. Hello, you sick individual that probably should be doing something better with their time right now. Welcome back to another video about Tyler Catastrophe. Not catastrophe, like some say, but Tyler Catastrophe. Now, I recently did a video speaking about this individual. It was a 2-hour deep dive into the lore of somebody who, honestly, I did not expect to be as... How do I say this nicely? It's the first minute of the video. I feel like I should start us off with something fresh, something kind and peaceful. Just somebody who is different. Really different for a lot of reasons. Tyler Catastrophe is an individual who right now on the internet is going viral for being an extremely polarizing figure. After they decided to move to the UK, a lot of TikToks of theirs started to resurface and go viral due to their defense of a certain content creator known as Wilbur Soot. But yes, Tyler Catastrophe, honestly, one of the strangest individuals that I've ever seen, and I documented pretty much everything to do with them in my 2-hour video. If you haven't seen it, what are you doing here? Go and watch it and then come back, or watch this and then go watch that, but that would be kind of weird. But either way, it was a big deep dive. But I am here to say things have gotten worse. I actually didn't think that could be possible. I didn't expect to be doing a follow-up so shortly, but yeah, things have gone to the dogs. There's a lot of things we need to get through today, my friends. Because yes, Tyler has been putting out more response videos, more digs at individuals, there's more stuff to do with Wilbur Schmuck, and yeah, more importantly, what I want to cover in the second half of this video is 2 interviews that I personally have found. When I say I personally, I mean it came up on my TikTok For You page, and I've decided to say I found it because I don't want to credit a TikToker. Just joking, this individual found it. But I'm feeling a little bit whimsy. I'm feeling a little bit crazy, to be honest with you, and I'm gonna have to be crazy because it's 1 in the morning. I'm getting a flight in about a day's time, which is 13 hours long. I've got a load of stuff to be doing. I don't really want to be sat... I do want to be here, sat here, talking about Tyler Catastrophe, but it's gonna be all over the place because, honestly, this individual is one of the more balmy people that I've ever spoken about on this channel.
Visit GoSpaceMermaid's Ko-fi page at link.
I'm not, but I feel like I just need to come at this with a bit of a funner angle because honestly, I'll do something bad to myself if I don't. That's weird. I don't know why I said that. I won't. I'll just probably not enjoy the video as much as usual. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about this person once again. So please subscribe if you're mentally ill, and things will be nothing different for you, but you will get decent content in your sub box, maybe twice, once a week, sometimes even not for a month, but it may happen now and again. I'm actually going away for 2 weeks after this, so probably not for 2 weeks. But, you know, subscribe, like the video. It would help. It would help. I'm sorry, this has been a weird start to a video, hasn't it? Sorry, let's get into this. Now, okay, actually getting into things today. At the ending of my last video, I played a 6-minute video from Tyler Catastrophe responding to pretty much everything that we had spoken about in that video, all of the criticism that they've been receiving on the internet for all the reasons that they've been going viral, and I kind of decided to not break down the majority of that clip because I felt like I'd already been responding to the things that I would be responding to when speaking about that TikTok, but I've had a lot of people say to me, why? Just break it down, look into it, take a look into it. And I was thinking, you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to take a look at this response because it is interesting. Well, I say it's interesting. It's more just hilarious to watch. And honestly, I'm not going to give all the story behind the context of everything. That is what my 2-hour video is for. So I would recommend going and watching that if you don't know about this situation, because you are going to be a bit confused to what I'm referring to. But yes, this is a 6-minute long response video from Tyler Catastrophe where they address all of the criticism that is being directed towards them on the internet right now, and it starts off by, yes, just being a complete and utter mess.
I said I have a crush on a guy in a band who I do not know and have met once. And because I was not strictly literal in a video that was for entertainment, I have somehow become the target of a weeks-long ridiculous smear campaign.
I love this nonchalant gimmick here of, oh, yeah, I've only met this guy once, and I don't really know why the internet's getting so mad. And it's like, mate, in my last video, we went over the fact that you have told the world that you're not going to date other individuals because you physically or emotionally cannot, because you are in love or have a crush on an individual who you're now trying to be nonchalant about.
I have had a crush on Will Gold since 2019 when I heard him laugh in the background of someone else's video, and it felt like life itself leaned in to listen. Which is really inconvenient for me because I am very much a one soul at a time kind of person, so once I develop a crush, virtually no one else stands a chance ever. And at the time, I had just broken off a terrible engagement to a guy who didn't even like me. And since then, I have only briefly dated one other person who was wonderful, but it didn't work out. And so in all of that time, regardless of how many people have tried and been interested in me, I have not been able to find the interest for any single one of them, because I have a crush on a guy I have interacted with once. And because I was not strictly literal in a video that was for entertainment.
You can't nonchalant gimmick this with me, pal. I've just done a 2-hour video going through every single possible receipt. And yeah, I know what he's doing here. He's obviously trying to make it look like he isn't as insane as the internet is making him out to be right now. And look, I'm not going to lie to you. There is a part that does think maybe this person isn't insane, but then I watch more TikToks and I'm like, well, the defense of Wilbur, everything on top of that, the sheer just audacity to never back down, it is kind of crazy in my humble opinion. So yeah, honestly, we're not starting off too well here. It's a bit of a mess. We have already kind of taken a look at this, but just coming back to it, it's still not very good.
I have somehow become the target of a weeks-long ridiculous smear campaign that, frankly, I don't want to understand.
I don't know what you mean by smear campaign, to be honest with you. Like, I'll smear at anyone. The only thing you're smearing is your shit all over the internet, bait. Because why are you acting like you haven't been telling us that you're in love with this guy who you met for 1 minute? You called him cute or something along those lines? I'm sorry, again, this is a little bit of a messy video.
You're adorable. It's fine.
Just in general, I just don't get why he's now looking at us like we're the crazy ones. You have literally for 3 years or 2 years straight been defending this guy's allegations. You have said more about his allegations than he has himself. So don't come on here and say, oh no, you guys are the crazy ones. I'm not going to be gaslit by you, Tyler. I'm not going to be gaslit by you. So don't bother attempt. Well, obviously we know he's going to attempt because he does go on to continue to, I guess, borderline gaslight us. Maybe that's not the word to use. Maybe it is. I don't really know. I don't really care. Sorry.
And while part of me knows that it's probably smart to just hope it dies out, It just keeps getting worse, so I'm gonna say some shit. I am not the one stalking comment sections.
Saying shit is usually not how you make it go away.
I am not the one making fake accounts to stalk someone I do not know. You are. I am not the one making money off of lying and talking about someone I do not know. You are. I am not the one writing fan fiction and making edits and drawing fan art and using AI to make slop of people I don't know kissing. You are. I'm not the one pretending to be related to someone just to spread lies. You are. I am not the one wishing death and torture and worse on someone I do not know just because they said they had a crush. You are.
All right. Now, this is going to be a little bit... No, that's a crazy way to start what I'm saying now after what he just said. Let me land. So, a lot of content creators like to do this thing where they say they've got death threats, they're getting said so much horrific things, and I get it. He probably has received some death threats here and there. But I feel like a lot of that probably does just come from anonymous accounts. And I know that sounds terrible, but there is a lot of things out there where an influencer will be getting a lot of that criticism, and they'll be like, well, I was getting death threats. And it's like, I mean, you probably had some crazy 13-year-old Minecraft stans send you some crazy stuff in their DMs on their anonymous Minecraft account. It doesn't really mean anything. I'm not justifying it or saying you should do it or that it's right, but what I am saying here is that these content creators say this sort of thing in order to kind of deflect from the actual genuine criticism that is being put towards them. Because at the end of the day, if you say to somebody who just said, I'm receiving death threats, oh, I don't actually think they're that bad of a death threat, you'll look like an asshole. So don't worry, I'm going to leave that asshole license to me. I'll say it. You guys don't have to. Oh, God. I sound like one of those, like, right-wing conservatives that have just kind of fallen off and they've gone into comedy. I'll say the things that people aren't willing to say. Sorry. I promise you I'm not going to be converting to Christianity anytime soon. But also another thing to note, and I pointed this out in my original video, is he claims here that he isn't making money from this sort of stuff, but he has quite literally bragged about making money from this stuff in the past.
But I mentioned that video paid my electric bill, generally the most money I've ever made from a TikTok.
So, buddy, what's the deal here? Are you making money? Are you not making? Look, I don't actually mind if you make. Well, I do actually, considering the kind of seriousness of it. I do think it is a bit weird that he's kind of like built this career off defending Wilbur. But alas, we'll put that to a side here. The money point isn't actually my main problem here. The main problem is just this kind of state of delusion that this guy is in. I mean, I've seen a lot of people out there debating about the Wilbur stuff. I'm not going to get into that. But I feel like if there is one thing a lot of people have like universally agreed on, is that this person is a little bit unhinged. But it only continues.
And I am most certainly not the one using AI to try and convince people on the internet that someone I have never interacted with is a pedophile. That's 100% on you.
Yeah, I'm not going to deny there is a lot of allegations that have been put towards Tyler Catastrophe that absolutely are not real. There have been a lot of things said about Tyler, which I can come on here and say right now, if there's no proof of, if there's no evidence of, if you're having to use AI-generated imagery or videos, obviously these things aren't real. And I do feel like there is this issue when somebody does become a dislike content creator of where people will try and capitalize on that, not by making videos. That's what I'm doing right now. Yes, this is a form of capitalizing on the situation, but I'm just saying this is what happened and people are talking about it and this is what I have to say. I think that is a morally fine type of capitalizing on a situation. I'm not going to lie to everyone and say I'm not capitalizing here. Obviously I am, but I think there is a difference between that and the content creators out there that make things up for just content purposes, that make things up because that they know right now there is a bandwagon against this individual. And look, I know some people out there will say a bandwagon is usually a term used when you're trying to actually say that it's unjustified, but no, don't get me wrong, in this situation with Tyler, I think the bandwagon of criticism directed towards him right now is absolutely valid. But of course that doesn't give you justification to go out there and make fake imagery and fake videos and AI stuff related to this guy. That doesn't really help anyone in this situation, and if anything, it actually just helps Tyler because he can say, well, there's all these people lying about me, surely all the other stuff will be, you know, fake. I've seen a situation way too many times now, and I just think it's dumb. Please do not go and fake or lie about stuff, because honestly, you're just a bit of a bellend if you do that.
I said that I thought a guy was hot and funny and interesting. in a video where I was not strictly literal. And then I said that because I am confident and like myself, that maybe he would like me if he gave me a chance, if he was interested in men. Because again, I don't know his sexuality. I do not care where he lives. I do not care who he's seeing. I do not care what he does for fun in his free time, because it has no effect on my life.
And that's why you're moving to Brighton from Texas. And you've started a GoFundMe that's made $16,000. We'll get into that in a bit. But yeah, I again don't really believe what he's saying here. Do I genuinely believe that Wilbur Soot is the 100% authentic reason this individual is moving to Brighton? Of course not. I don't think that's the reason. But do I think it is possibly a slight reason? Yeah. Based on what I've seen about Tyler, I would not be surprised if that is, one of the reasons. Because mainly, why would he go to the extent that he is to defend somebody like Wilbur Soot? Somebody whose reputation is so in the mud that it's basically at the center of the earth at this point. Wilbur Soot's reputation has been decimated over the last few years, and why would anyone try to risk their reputation to defend that when Wilbur has admitted to some of the things that he has admitted to? It genuinely makes no sense unless you bring in the context that this individual possibly has a little crush on Wilbur Soot. Because the fact is Tyler, based on my research, I've seen former friends of him or people that used to know him speak about him, he actually did have a career in music. This person did actually know venues and how to book bands for gigs. Whether they were small bands or not, it was very clear that Tyler did have something going for him in the past, and the fact is he's basically burned all those bridges now because he is known as the person obsessed with Wilbur Soot, and I think that does just come from him having a crush, and I feel like all he's doing here is just lying.
You guys have no idea how weird this whole Tyler catastrophe thing is for me, because I've personally known him for years. He lives in my city. I met him in 2021. He was like a band promoter back in the day. I don't know if he still does that. But back when I was in a band in 2021, he got us a show. Like, that's how I met him a while ago. So when I first saw all this stuff coming, I saw it like first start coming out on Twitter like a month ago or so. With just, all this started from a post that had like 15 likes. And then it just snowballed and snowballed. Now everybody knows about it. And when I saw that, I was like, I know him. What the f? And people are going like, what? Joey knows about Tyler Catastrophe? It's like, I don't know how to tell you guys this. I've known about Tyler Catastrophe longer than, swear to God, literally anyone that's chimed in on this drama. It's insane.
So yeah, this TikTok is a person that used to know Tyler Catastrophe, and as you can see, they did have a former career in the industry of booking gigs for bands and stuff like that. Whether the bands were small or not, it harks back to what I just said of Tyler did have a career. He did have building foundations which he could have easily progressed on, but he has thrown that away in the name of Wilbur Soot, which I only think makes him even more concerning to me personally.
I have a physical type. He happens to be that type. I have very high standards. I do not want someone who does not meet that standard.
You do not know this person. You've met this person one time in your life, taken a photo with this individual one time. You do not know the inner or outer parts of their personality. You've never had a private one-on-one conversation with this person. You've never ever had an emotional connection with this person, so how would you know if they meet your standard? You are in a parasocial relationship, and it's insane that you are not aware of that. And the thing is I don't actually think that this is rage bait. He's trying to become a lolcow or something like that. I think this is his genuine, authentic, not authentic, but I think he genuinely feels like this way. He is actually angry and he's not doing this for rage bait. And it's like, I almost feel sorry for him if we removed like the horrible defenses of Wilbur. I, in a way, feel a little bit bad, but then you kind of remember everything.
And right now, the only reason
Are you on part 2 now?
is because I do not want to give people more room to lie. Clearly, all of those videos have missed such a large mark. I don't know how we got here. I don't want to know. But at this point, I have spent my entire life overcoming things that most people would never even have to imagine. And I spent a ridiculously long time being just the scapegoat for everyone around me. So I know that there are people who have no interest in the truth, no matter how big it is. And I know that there are people who will post anything that gets views. Consequences be damned. I actually left the creator program months ago because I didn't like the incentive it gave.
Well, you're a bloody idiot, mate, because you could have made millions of dollars probably off, well, not millions, but you could have made a lot of money, and I feel like you're an idiot. If this is genuinely true, if you have left the creator fund after you have been doing the shenanigans that you have been doing on social media in the last month or so, destroying your own career, if you've not at least been making money off it, what are we doing here, buddy? That actually makes me think, oh no, this guy is more insane than I actually thought. Because he's doing this for the love of the game. Do you know how crazy that is? This isn't rage bait. He's just told us that. This is him. This is who he is. He's not doing this for money. This is basically the Joker that we're dealing with here. We are dealing with the Texan Joker. And honestly, I don't know how to respond to that. The fact that he is doing this out of some place of pride and authenticity is genuinely wild to me. Tyler, just make some money. I know that sounds bad, but like, you're making me feel bad for you right now, man. Because in a year's time, 2 years' time, maybe even like a day's time, you're going to look back on this thinking, oh, fuck. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you have destroyed your career. And even I'm dying right now. And you've made no benefits, no profits. God, you need I'll be your manager. I'll sort this out. I'll fix this, Tyler. Because, mate, just look at your bank account and think it could be higher. And I know that's bad to suggest that this bad dude should make money off these things, but it's just like almost confusing to me of like,
if you're gonna be crazy on the internet, you might as well make money for it.
At least some of the lolcows I've spoken about in the past, like, do it to make money. He's just, I know I keep repeating it here, but he's just doing it for the love of the game. And like, I kind of respect it, but I'm also kind of afraid.
I actually left the creator program months ago because I didn't like the incentive it gave to like trigger people and start rage bait, and it's stupid. I don't like it. So really the only thing I have to say to the people who are using my name to get views and make money in a way that is not true and is very deceptive, I hope you plan to donate every single cent that you have made off of misrepresenting my character and using my name for views.
I'm not donating anything, man. I'm not donating anything. Those kids. No, that's a joke. Well, I'm actually not. Like, I'm not going to donate anything. I donate money every month to Battersea Dogs and Cats. I actually do, and have done for like 7 years. Big up to Battersea Dogs and Cats. I don't even think that's the official name, but they're right here. If you want to go give your money to them, big up. They're a good cause. I give money to them every single month. I don't know why I just started plugging a charity. It's probably because he's made me feel bad for saying that, but I'm not giving any of the money that this video makes to charity. In fact, I'm giving it to myself. And I'm probably going to buy myself I'm going to order myself food. And I'm going to enjoy it. So no, Tyler, just a little bit of man-to-man here. I'm not giving you or anyone else money. Yeah, sorry. Unless you're a dog from Battersea, you're not getting my cash.
I hope you plan to donate every single cent that you have made off of misrepresenting my character and using my name for views. To the ACLU, to Planned Parenthood, to the people of Palestine or Lebanon or the Congo or Sudan, to Indigenous or Black Lives Matter charities. You have a lot of options.
Crazy thing to do there, and it's probably a good thing that I said what I said before we got into those, you know, terrible things that are going on there. And the only reason I feel like he's actually brought up Palestine, the Congo, Sudan, I feel like the only reason he's brought up these genocides is because he's trying to use horrific things that are ongoing in this world right now as a way to deflect from internet drama. This is something that Jeffree Star did a few years ago, where he used the murder of an innocent woman to just kind of deflect from criticism. And I am so fed up of seeing content creators do this, coming on here and being like, I hope you're using this money for these charities. It's genuinely grim. Now, obviously, I think you should donate to these charities. I have donated to these charities, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have donated to these charities. But there really is no no need to bring that up into this topic of conversation here. Of course, I do think that these things are extremely relevant things that should be spoken about. If you follow me on Instagram, I speak about it basically every single day. But I feel like the only reason he's mentioning it here is because obviously, if you say, why are you talking about this right now? It does look a little bit bad, and you have to explain yourself like I'm doing right now. And that is a messed up genius move that he's doing here, because he's immediately diverting the conversation away. But no, I'm not going to accept that. Using these horrific things as a way to divert from this conversation about you and your defense of Wilbur Soot and everything else you've done is genuinely obscene. And honestly, I know this video was being a little bit funny and quirky, but this is one moment where I will say that it is disgusting that he is randomly using these horrible, horrible things that are going on right now in this world as a way to deflect. But yeah, obviously, we should have conversations about what is going on in Palestine, in the Congo, in Sudan right now. These are horrific genocides, and I think it is vital and important to talk about them. Obviously, this channel isn't about things going on in the world. That is why I usually keep it to my Instagram or community posts, something like that. But of course, these are important things. But in this conversation, I feel like they are only being brought up for the wrong reasons.
Because frankly, every other problem on Earth right now is bigger and more important than a guy who has a crush on another guy.
And this is exactly what I was just talking about. He is saying right here that there are so many issues going on in the world right now that it's stupid to talk about something else, something insignificant like Tyler Catastrophe, which actually I completely disagree with, because the mind, the brain, is a wonderful, significant thing that can do magnificent things, such as
dudes kissing
having more
Kappa.
than one thought at once. You can think about the horrific things going on in this world right now, but you can also think about Tyler Catastrophe. I can think about what I'm going to have for dinner today. I can think about the issues in my life right now, because as human beings, we have multiple thoughts a day.
That's
now,
his whole
Tyler,
argument for
I
how
know
it's
that
not
might
wrong.
be a
You
bit
can't
of a
think of
different
anything
thing
better?
for you personally, but to the regular human being, we can talk about a lot of different things. I know, it's crazy, but again, it's clear he obviously knows this, but he is just trying to use horrible things in the world to kind of deflect from the conversation surrounding him, which I'll say for the 50th time is disgusting.
And while it would be nice to have a little more money, because I have goals of my own to work towards, I want absolutely nothing to do with any of that money. And otherwise, I hope you end up regretting every single cent you have made off of misrepresenting me.
Also, again, I find this crazy considering we literally saw a clip earlier of where this guy was flexing about how the fact that he's made money from his videos.
But I mentioned that video paid my electric bill, generally the most money I've ever made from a TikTok.
Now look, I don't find it bad that he's made money from his videos, but why are you going to get onto your channel and kind of lee? It's clear, again, he is just a lying hypocrite that knows if he brings up very serious things, he can kind of divert the attention away from him.
I am a good person. I am kind, and I do not deserve any of this. I believe that other people are mostly good. I believe that people can change when they have motivation to do so. And I hope that you all learn from this in the future, because there's really nowhere else to go. I do not like being angry, and I am angry that
I have to pack my stuff for tomorrow, but I'm being lazy.
What do you have
I'm
tomorrow?
angry
Are
for
you
a lot
going
of
somewhere?
reasons. Angry to the point of tears, because I have so many worse problems than this, and somehow we are still here.
I also don't have to leave first thing in the morning anyways.
Why are we crying? I
Pack like
I don't know
half
why
of
he's
it.
crying. Maybe, to be fair, I imagine there is a bit of an emotional impact about what's going on with him on the internet right now. I'm sure the big conversation about it.
I'm going
is
to my
obviously
stepmom
not
and
great
dad's.
for him personally.
And they're the
But at end
ones
of the day,
who
pal, you
went on
do not
vacation.
help yourself in any single situation, just like you haven't today.
My birthday is this month, and as of that day, I will have been in pain for 7.5 years.
Oh, me too. 7.5 years ago was 2019, and
Yeah,
just
they
through
went
the
on the
halfway point
vacation.
of 2019, Game of Thrones Season 8 came out, so I can completely relate to you. That shit was painful. So yeah, fair enough, Tyler. I feel bad for you.
Even in my dreams, I am in pain. because someone hit me with their car at around 50 miles an hour.
And the writers of Game of Thrones may as well have hit me with their car at 100 miles per hour. It was that bad.
Oh yeah, did I tell you what happened with my stepsister?
The pain that I went through
No, is it something that should not be said over text to speech?
After watching that finale, what were they doing here, man? It was just an utter mess. Yeah, I feel bad for you. I feel bad for you. Don't actually know why it's relevant to everything you're addressing here, but, you know, we'll let you talk, we'll let you land.
I decided to keep living after it. I will be in pain for the rest of my life. And
that's gross. I've known her since she was 8.
Hell to build a life that is worthy of that pain.
Ew, that's not where I was going with that.
And with everything else that I have chosen to survive,
I meant, like, is it stuff that she would not want the entire internet to know?
So if you are only here hoping to see me crash and burn, go f*** yourself.
Whoa! Whoa! Let's calm down. We don't need to get the explicit words out right now. Tyler!
Lol.
I know we're not on good terms, but I thought there was a little connection there, you know? I thought that just looking at you and looking at your videos, I just feel like you've got all the traits that I like in a person, you know?
Whenever I mention her, that other thing is literally everyone's first thing to ask.
You know? I just want to move to Texas, and I might start a GoFundMe up. I might pay $16,000 to move
Wish
to where
to donate
you live,
to Extra
because I
Life?
just really
Follow
think
the
you're
link.
perfect
And
person
thank you.
for me. Notice how insane that sounds. Because that's why everyone is judging you right now. Because that is basically, in the opinions of everybody, what you have been doing with Wilbur. It is a bit odd, mate, and I don't think anyone really wants anything bad to happen to you. I just feel like people on the internet right now are rightly saying what you do is very odd. And of course,
maybe
what he's
I'll
doing
just
here
DM it
is
to you,
just
though.
Emotional manipulation. He is
Go for
deliberately
it.
trying to make people feel bad by crying and bringing up the past, even though this is just meant to be a response to everything, and it does only continue.
And if you're here trying to see if what you've heard is true, it's not. You can look at everything I've said. I've left it all up. I stand by what I've said. Because even the worst thing they could find on me was me saying that they should think and consider carefully before allowing themselves to be used as an internet attack dog on behalf of people they do not know. Because there will always be information you do not know. And I stand by that 1000%. Not sorry. And to Will Gold,
stop calling him by his first name. You don't know him, please. He keeps on doing this, and of course, like I discussed in my first video on this situation, I feel like the main reason that he does this is because he wants to kind of establish it to his audience that he has, I guess, a bit more of a personal connection with Will Gold. It's not Wilbur Soot to Tyler Catastrophe. No, it's William Gold. Sounds weird to say, but that's what he's trying to do here. He's trying to build their parasocial relationship to seem to be an actual form of friendship or even relationship. In, of course, my humble opinion anyway.
On the off chance that you see this, personally, kind of hope you haven't seen any of it, but to you, I am sorry, because clearly, this has gone so far, and I didn't intend any of it. This whole thing sucks. And I don't like it. But other than that, I have no other apologies. Because I have nothing to apologize for.
So yeah, he's got nothing to apologize for, and he is not sorry. Now, overall, I would say that this is a god-awful apology. I would say that, truthfully, it doesn't actually address pretty much anything. It just kind of, if anything, deflects. He brings up very serious things in order to hope that people will divert away from the conversation. And overall, I feel like it was a completely manipulative and terrible apology. The waterworks coming out at the end is genuinely, I'm not going to say hilarious, but just kind of so, there isn't really a word. You know what I'm thinking. It just didn't really need to happen, but of course he's done it to try and emotionally manipulate everybody into forgetting and moving on from this type of thing. And look, people will move on, people will forget about Tyler, they'll go on to something else, but at the end of the day, we're having a conversation, and right now that conversation is about you, Tyler. People are going to talk about
Visit
you because you have done
GoSpaceMermaid's
some
Ko-fi
things
page
that
at
people just
link.
morally don't agree with, and naturally, being a content creator with thousands of followers, that is going to spark a conversation. And yeah, if you're wondering what the community consensus of this response was, well, it's not looking good. Now, some people in his comments did argue that he kinda has a point. Now, I'm not actually
I think we've talked about this.
what his point was here, but I mean, fair enough, I guess. But then somebody else compared him to Baby Reindeer, and then a comment got so massive that it garnered 125,000 likes, simply saying, "Baby girl, you're moving to Brighton for him," which, yeah, is something that he absolutely is intending to do. And honestly, I feel like if anyone was scared of this individual, it would be Will Gold. Yes, I said it. Will Gold would be the person absolutely terrified of this person. But yes, with all of the comments, all of the criticism coming in, it was very clear that this was getting to Tyler. And because of that, he took a step back from social media. He seemed to leave for around a week and went pretty much radio silent until he uploaded a very vague and indirect TikTok, in which he starts to speak about other people's insecurities, and it is a very interesting listen.
Security is a result of conditioning, and it can be unconditioned. Part of me wanted to use the less pretty snow globes from my collection as a metaphor about how just because other people might not get it, I know what they've been through, and I know where they came from. And in case you couldn't tell, I just really like words. But honestly, I think I'd rather just say it outright.
She had a bit of a slip up a little bit ago and it was quite upsetting. But she was so upset with herself and crying, and I was up till 1 a.m. one night and he texts me and is like, "Are you still up? 'Cause I'm freaking out."
Put down, and even more difficult to walk away from. But
Wish to donate to Extra Life?
Not
Follow
just
the
literally,
link.
but
No
in a
stream
more
elements, get
better,
out of
more
here!
worth living kind of way. Because even the snow globes that have been through some shit and lost all their water are still worth keeping around. And the perfection they want you chasing has never actually existed anyways. And no matter how fat and ugly
And we talked in the
transgender
kitchen for
someone
over
thinks
2
it is,
hours,
I
which
like it.
the circumstances weren't great, but it was a nice
Now,
conversation.
obviously, this is, as I said, a very vague TikTok, and there is a lot that could be taken from it. It could just be a nice message about how people should not be insecure anymore, or, in my humble opinion, it's just a bit of a direct shot at the people criticizing him right now. I feel like he's basically coming onto this TikTok to say,
Joanna,
hey,
and I
I'm
think
better
I
than
helped
you,
her as
and
best
I know
as
that
I
the only
could.
reason that you're criticizing me is because that you're insecure.
Why does the
and
voice
you're just
randomly
projecting
decide
those
to not be the one
insecurities
I
onto me.
picked?
Now, obviously, he doesn't directly say those things, but I think it is incredibly coincidental that this was the first
Joanna,
TikTok that he
what
made
the fuck?
after that response that we just went through. Now, of course, it
The
isn't
voice
the
is
worst
supposed to
TikTok
be
on planet Earth,
Joanna.
and if anything, it does have a positive message towards the ending of it. But I do just think it is a bit vague, and I think that is deliberately so. But then, at the time of me editing this video, Tyler has yet again put out another response. So before we go into anything else, let's take a look at what Tyler Catastrophe has had to say in his latest TikTok. He describes it with, "Y'all don't need a reason to dislike me, so there's really no point in making new ones up." Yeah, whatever, let's take a look.
Mutual understanding is very important to me. And because I talk to people for a living, sometimes that's difficult. Because when you're suddenly faced with a lot of people who don't want to understand you.
Oh god, I mean, that's just not true. People have been trying to understand you. I've made a 2-hour video going through every little thing that you've said, and I can't come to an understanding other than you are absolutely enamored with Wilbur Soot. You want to move to another country because of Wilbur Soot, and we will get more into those details later on, but the only understanding is you are hyper obsessed with someone that you have never met, to the point of where you are willing to defend them in extremely serious situations where they have admitted to said things.
A lot of people who don't want to understand you and decide to pick your entire life apart looking for things to misinterpret. spreading lies, misinformation, or even just reposting your own words and leading people to false conclusions about them.
Again, I don't really know what he's talking about here. If people are just reposting your own words, how is that going to lead to a false
sometimes
conclusion?
I don't feel like we're close, but then we have those kinds of moments and it's nice.
Surely it's your fault that people are coming to conclusions that you personally do not like. And that's what this whole thing is about here. Even when it is just people reposting this individual's own words, he still is not happy about it. And that's because even he probably deep down knows that his words
Joanna,
are not
my stepsisters are way better than my actual sister.
God damn.
Outrage.
At that point, nothing I say to those people will ever be good enough. Especially when most of them have just turned to attacking my looks or being transphobic.
Now, firstly, of course, I do not condone attacking anyone for their looks, for their gender identity, or any other reason like that, of course. And I'm not even going to argue with Tyler. I'm sure Tyler has faced a large amount of hate relating to those topics. And yeah, I will just say, please, for the love of God, don't do that. But let's not just stop criticizing Tyler because of these terrible people out there doing the wrong things. No, we can acknowledge those people whilst also acknowledging your own faults, Tyler. But I don't think he wants
Joanna,
us to do that.
my actual sister sucks.
That is a little
She's
bit
super manipulative. But I'm also not as close to my other stepsister much either, but it's more because she isn't around too much.
Is a pretty fair thing to do.
I like the way that I look,
Joanna,
and I am not
I should
ashamed of
call
the
her
fact that I
more.
used to be a woman. Women are awesome. So I'm just done. This account isn't for those people. My work isn't for those people. I am not for those people. So hate, rage bait, lies, misinformation, or just bad faith arguments, they're getting blocked and deleted. I don't care. I left the Creator Fund months ago because I did not want incentive to let them stay and feed into them. So if you're here because you like me and the things that I make, I hope you'll stick around. And if you're only here because you don't like me, go find someone you do like. Okay, love you, bye.
I mean, yeah, the apology, it was very minuscule, and it is clear that a lot of this is getting to him, which, as I said earlier, is understandable. Even when you are in the wrong in the situation, I can understand why it would make you upset.
Joanna,
and the comments
wish to
weren't
donate
holding
to
back.
Extra
Someone
Life.
says, commenting
Follow
from
the link.
Brighton, sorry
And
to
thank
flex.
you.
Watch, he's gonna change his GoFundMe to move to New York. I don't really know what that's in reference to, but I don't know. I kind of doubt it, to be honest with you. I feel like this guy is stead on moving to Brighton. And then there was arguments about the whole transphobia issue. Again, I'm not going to jump into that. I would not be surprised if a lot of hatred has been diverted this person's way. So yeah, I will end this segment by saying, once again, his response was god-awful, takes no accountability, and just deflects from the genuine criticism surrounding him. But also, yes, please do not send this individual actual hate. Criticism is fine. Comment it down below, not on his TikToks. But yeah, don't be hateful, obviously. But with that, let's actually move back into the conversation surrounding Tyler's fascination for Brighton and, in particular, Wilbur Soot. Because yes, more and more people have been reposting certain TikToks of Tyler where he doubles down on his defense for Wilbur.
I do not think that Wilbur Soot is an abuser. This is just a reminder that I still feel that way. I've been doing more covers recently, and several of them have been Lovejoy songs because I love Lovejoy. So I've been getting a lot of comments and DMs asking if I still support Will, which the answer is yes. I'm not the kind of person to hide my opinions, and if I think it's an important opinion, I usually will share it. So if my opinion had changed, I would have said it. So go watch that video all the way through if you want. It's like 6 minutes long, but you asked, so yeah, here I am, almost a year later. Same opinion, just a little bit more annoyed. I want more Lovejoy songs, I'm gonna be honest. I need new music. Life is too stale.
Now, I don't know why earlier he got onto his TikTok and cried and got angry and upset at everybody for being mean and criticizing him, because making this TikTok is genuinely insane. To double down on the things that he is doubling down on is so unbelievably wild to me. And again, a big point of confusion that I personally have when it comes to Tyler is the fact that, well, Wilbur, as we saw in my first video, has admitted to a lot of things. So I am a bit confused why this individual keeps getting on here to defend Wilbur when Wilbur himself isn't really even defending himself. Wilbur hasn't actually spoken, I believe at least, about this situation in 2 years. So why are you still going? It's genuinely insane. And again, the only reason that I could possibly come to understand here, and not because I agree with it, but it just logically makes sense, is of course, this person is obsessed and in a parasocial relationship. You're insane. Like, do you not hear yourself? Like, it actually makes
Joanna,
me sad. It really does make
pulling
me
them
sad
down on
that
stream.
You're going through this. You're doing this.
They
because
were
I know
up
you're
my
gonna look back
butt.
on this in a few years, and you're going to regret this. Even at the ending there, speaking about Lovejoy and wanting more songs, it's just so obvious that this person is obsessed. Because at the end of the day, even if you do believe someone is in the right and everyone else is in the wrong, why would you dedicate your career, your life, to defending them when there is no defense to be made other than, well, I think they're in the right? Because obviously everyone's going to think you're insane. There is no, there's not like a thing of you're exposing a situation here. It's just Tyler saying, no, I think I'm in the right here, and I think Wilbur was in the right here. There's no oh, here's a text, here's a receipt to disprove these things. It's just, I'm nuts. And that's basically the crux of every single argument that Big Ty Dog loves to make in every single TikTok. And it's like, mate, just stop doing it. Just stop doing it. Get a job. You're actually going to have to get a job because apparently you'll have the creator fund. Get a job. Do something better. But yeah, with this, obviously, it's clear he wants to move to Brighton because he's in big love with Big Wibbly Bibbly Bilber. And of course, I don't know why I said it like that. And of course, we now need to take a look into some of the reasons to why he's... obviously, we know the reason, but some of the reasons that he has claimed are the reasons to why he's moving to Brighton. The main reason he claims is because he loves the football.
You expect me to believe that's the only reason? I mean... I'm sure I'm not the only guy in the world who would let his decision to move somewhere be influenced by a sports team. And why would you like their football club if not for a crush? I grew up in the sport. My whole family played. We helped run a non-profit youth club. I was a referee for 6 years. And when it comes to the Premier League, most of the other teams, Chelsea, Arsenal, Bournemouth, Leicester City, to me, they all play like assholes.
I'm sorry. There's something about how he speaks where it just You know when you hear someone speak, and you just know that they're chatting complete nonsense. It's hard to explain my thoughts here. Even if what he is saying here is actually true and his parents did run a sports club or whatever, I just don't believe him. And what he goes on to say here, as somebody that does like football, it just comes off as somebody who is LARPing as a football fan. And maybe he does actually like football, but when I hear this person speak, not just with football, but with anything, I just can't help but think you're chatting nonsense.
Most of the other teams, Chelsea, Arsenal, Bournemouth, Leicester City, to me, they all play like assholes.
Now, the reason that I know that this man is a chronic LARPer is because I believe this TikTok was made, fairly recently, and Leicester City have not been in the Premier League for almost 4 years. 3 years, in fact. So, to say that they're a Premier League team, but you love the Premier League, and because you love your Premier League football club, you're moving here for that, it does kind of confuse me that you don't know that Leicester aren't in the Premier League. And also to compare them to some of the clubs that he just mentioned there, none of these clubs are comparable. They're not. They're all very different clubs that have different styles of football, and it is just odd that he's saying these things, and I don't believe you. I don't believe that you like football. I just don't. And I don't care if you show me your photos of when you were a kid and playing football. I don't believe you.
They time waste, they flop, they play dirty. Brighton actually plays the game. I mean, I could talk about how Verbrugge, Van Hecke, Weaver are pretty much the sole reason I have a paid fan club membership to the Netherlands national team. I could talk about how Matoma is such an ace fucking striker, he literally has a PhD thesis that he wrote about dribbling, or how the last transfer window broke my heart because we lost Estepinian, who was my favorite, Lamptey, and Adingra.
Joanna,
I think you should stop talking.
I didn't even notice what time it was.
No, I didn't either. Tyler has basically gone onto ChatGPT and said, hey, could you write a paragraph what a Brighton fan would say about the players that
I've
they
been
love,
locked
and just
into this tea
give
and also
weird
repo.
random examples about why they love them? Because I'm not going to lie to you. If someone comes up to me and says, I love Liverpool Football Club, I love that, Roberto Firmino went to university and studied this type of thing, I'd be like, mate, why are we talking about university here? We're talking about football. Like, people don't love their footballers because they went to university. Like, maybe it's a little quirky thing here and there, but if you're trying to convince me that you like football, you're going to name a performance, a goal, a match that you've been to or you watched and it really reflected in your mind. I can name Liverpool Borussia Dortmund in 2015 when we came back. Dejan Lovren scored the equaliser, well, the winner. Now I'm laughing, but, you know, I can name these sort of results, you know. First ever game I went to, I believe it was Blackburn 1, Liverpool 1, and I think John Arisa scored. That may be wrong, but a long time. I can name things, at least have memories. Whereas what I have here is someone who is just LARPing for the sake of LARPing. And look, there is more, in my opinion, of a real reason behind why Tyler claims to support Brighton. And yes, it once again sources back to Wilbur Sir. As you can see in this tweet here, Wilbur back in 2019, funnily enough, the year that Tyler found Wilbur, claimed that he supports Brighton. And I feel like maybe once again we have a case of this person's obsession showing where they want to support Brighton or do support Brighton because Wilbur supports Brighton. It all at the end of the day leads to Wilbur Soot. But yeah, Tyler is going to supposedly move to the UK because they have got a GoFundMe that I showed you in my last video, but what I didn't show you is the fact that it has made $16,000. There are people out there that have given some people have given individual donations of over $1,000. And look, the individual aspect of what the cause is for the reason that he wants to leave, I can understand why people would give to this person. But the reality is from what we've seen and what a lot of the general consensus is that this person is only moving to Brighton because they want to be near Wilbur. Now, obviously, I know that there are a lot of other reasons that we discussed in my previous video, but it is genuinely insane that this person has made $16K on this GoFundMe. Now, yeah, do I actually think that this person will eventually meet Wilbur Soot, hang out with Wilbur Soot, go on a little hinge date with Wilbur Soot? I don't really know. Given everything with Wilbur, I wouldn't be shocked. I really wouldn't. But talking of Wilbur, we now need to get into an interview that I mentioned at the beginning of this video that is all to do with, again, Brighton, Wilbur, everything about Tyler Catastrophe and his life. Because yes, this TikToker here, I'm not really sure what that is, but this TikToker here actually recently, not leaked, but I guess made a resurfaced post of an interview between another individual and Tyler Catastrophe. And yeah, in that interview, they speak about quite a lot, and I just want to go through it right now. It's around 14 minutes long. We will just skim through it. But yeah, there is a lot of interesting stuff brought up in this interview that a lot of people have not seen.
Tyler, thanks for coming to the show today and for talking to us not just about that. The real reason we have you here is because of Summerfest, and we understand you unexpectedly were able to attend Summerfest. Can you tell us more about how that went down?
It was insane, first of all. I don't think it's the sort of thing that anyone could have expected. Because me and my roommate will sometimes just tag each other in random Instagram giveaways for fun. Because you never think you're gonna win, but what if? And so Summerfest was Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Monday afternoon, I get a DM saying I've won tickets and front row passes to see Lovejoy. And my roommate was working in the other room on a call, and I was like, do I wait to tell you? Do I tell you now? I think if I wait, I'll die. And so I knock, I wait patiently for about a minute while they're on the call, and I show them. And we freak out. They're slapping their desk. It's great. And I leave the room. And then I hear them almost scream, and I go back to see what's wrong. They have also won tickets from the same giveaway separately. So now we had 4 tickets, 4 GA passes, and 4 front row passes.
I'm not sure what you mean here. I don't know anything about Lovejoy, but it kind of feels like only 2 people actually entered this giveaway. Because the odds for both of them to win the giveaway when they're living together is genuinely insane. But yeah, apparently, I guess this is how Tyler ended up meeting Wilbur and Lovejoy. They won a giveaway where they got to be front row and meet Wilbur. And yeah, it's a beautiful love story. It's just one big happy coincidence that is going to lead to them being in a happy relationship.
See Lovejoy. And so we're like, right, that's not the thing that happens. And so we're like, it's a side, we have to go. And because I've also been putting money aside from my business and the goal to move to England, I had a little bit of money left aside. I could afford the tickets. He could afford the tickets. So we got a last minute flight. We got a last minute hotel. We booked the tickets Monday afternoon, and we're on a plane by I think we were at the airport at 4 a.m. Tuesday morning. So when I say last minute, it was extremely last minute, but it's not worth it. It was insane and so much fun.
I'm so confused because he said he maybe I am like not listening properly here, but I swear he said he got or won the ticket. Maybe it was like a raffle that you had to get in to buy a ticket. I'm not actually too sure, but yeah, from what we've seen, he was going to Brighton. He got on the flight, he got on the plane, and he went to the United Kingdom. And honestly, I am sorry for that. Coming to the UK is probably a pretty horrible experience for people that have never been here before. When you kind of fly into London, it is such a disgusting experience because the sky is grey and you just see the brown Thames, and then you just see like all of London, like the towers and stuff. It's all right. I like London, but it's never a good look, especially when you're coming from somewhere probably a lot visually nicer.
Really is good to hear.
Tyler, have you seen good work. Thank you so much. Live Joy before? Or Live Joy? I have not.
I don't even know their names. they don't even know who they're talking about. And honestly, I don't think most people do. What does that mean? I don't even know why I'm being mean about. I don't care about love. Like, that's not me being mean. It's just not my type of music. Sorry. Let's continue.
Did they look like you imagined in real life?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. So I saw Mark first because he was kind of hanging out behind the scenes. Well, I don't know how, but they found me was playing, and I noticed him and I waved, and he waved back, and he got like really excited to wave back at me. I was like, oh hi. I was like, hi, you're just as excited as I am. Wow. So, he definitely looked it. I actually have. He gave his set list to my roommate, and my roommate gave it to me. So I'm really happy about that. I love it.
Nice.
But when they actually got out onto the stage, I was like, man, the camera does not do anything justice ever. And of course, I was like right in front of Will. And so it's just hard eyes the whole time.
Now, yeah, this comes from 2025, so it's very clear that this crush, I mean, he has admitted to this before, this crush that he's had on Wilbur has been going on since around 2019. So this is a 7-year-long crush. And what we have here is an account from him from over a year ago admitting that this sort of thing with Wilbur happened. He stared at him lovingly and he had hard eyes. And look, we already knew this happened, but I think this is just like to reaffirm to ourselves personally that all of the TikToks from recently were not rage bait. This is a genuine, authentic love that he has for Wilbur, and this interview really is only further evidence of that. He's got onto this interview to speak about his love for Lovejoy and for Wilbur Soot, and yeah, it only continues.
Alrighty.
So is Will your favorite?
We're almost done. I'm ready for bed. Cause I gotta work tomorrow. Alright. Bye. I'll probably be streaming tomorrow night too. I don't know if we'll game, but you know. Alright. Bye.
Joanna, okay. Joanna, have a good night.